Welcome back to the Hardcore Project. This is episode 2. We managed to catch up with Depravity. Managed to talk to them about their new material that they've been writing during the lockdown sessions, previous tours and shows that they've been on and been a part of, and also their writing processes.
And then we also talked about OG Deathcore and also music venues that are closing at the moment and past ones.
We hope you enjoy the episode.
Welcome back to the Hardcore Project. This is episode 2. We've got Dan and Joe here from Depravity. How you doing, boys? How you doing?
Not bad, mate.
Just cracking on as usual. You know how it goes. These crazy lockdown situations got us fucking going a bit backwards. Like, how's it been for yourselves? Chilling or?
Finding brightness in my room is a different thing at the moment. I've not been too bad in the situation because I'm a postman. If the red jacket right there is anything of
didn't clarify, it does now.
So yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I mean, I've still been in work, which has been partly a blessing because I don't do too well being locked in on my own. Apart from not seeing the band, seeing the mixes at the beginning of part of it, and not getting to the gym, it's pretty bad when you get into a lockdown situation. You're in lockdown and your life doesn't change.
Yeah, nothing.
You're yeah, and you say again, I probably need a few things sorted out. But say I know Dan's been a bit of a different situation.
Yeah, I've literally been off work since March, so I've been a bit bored.
Yeah, is it the furlough setting in now where you're just like, right,
yeah,
do something, please?
Yeah, basically, like the first few weeks, you're like, do you know what? I'm getting paid to stay at home. This is so sick. And then after like a month, you're like, oh my lord, why is my life so boring without work?
Yeah, the routine that's based around it. You sort of fall apart.
It's the fact. It's when you're screwed when you start like you just wake up at like 11 o'clock and you're just like, oh well, that doesn't bother me. You start going to bed at like 4 a.m. and you're just like you realize you don't really care because you got nothing to get up for.
It's interesting because I actually had a week off in the middle of April because I was meant to have gone to a convention, but my work said if you've booked off holiday and the coronavirus thing is still going on, you have to still take it because otherwise at the end there's just going to be so many people booking holidays off.
Of course.
So I had a week off anyway. And then, like Dan said, by the end of the week, I was going to bed at 3 a.m, waking up at 2 p.m. or something like that. And then realizing the next day I had work, I had to be up at 4 because obviously an early start. I'm just lying there like, I'm just coffee. That's just coffee. It's going to save me.
Snorting coffee at that rate by the sounds of it.
Any orifice. Coffee in any orifice.
Packing
what about
coffee,
you guys?
I mean, I got I was furloughed from pretty much the same as Dan, really, the beginning of March, and then I was given some sort of package, and they just said, "Yeah, we'll keep you until September, and after that, you can go your separate way." And I thought, you know what, I can deal with that. That sounds so. I'm currently just chilling at the moment, and then probably have to pull my finger out and get a job and sort my shit out as and when the time comes. Though I'm in no fucking rush.
What job were you in?
I was a really cool person. I was a PPI expert, mate. So I used to sit there chatting wham about people, being missold from the banks, and they were all like, nah, that never happened. I was like, I could get you back thousands of pounds, son.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
Yeah, but I did. We legitimately did get people back money. So this time, the little man did win.
Sometimes.
Only sometimes. Very, very rare that the little man pulls through, but when he does.
Wait, are we talking about PPI still?
PPI and just my general height. I fucking all of the above. I'm such a small little man. It's strange.
It's got deep quick.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt?
I started off again on furlough up until about June. Lost my job, got a new job. Funnily enough, in logistics as well. So with you on that, and then just been working. But thankfully, we had the podcast to fall on. During furlough as well. I mean, we were trying to work out how I was going to do it at first. Then we figured out this whole Zoom thing, and we thought, fucking hell, the possibilities are endless. Like, we can get people abroad as well on it. It's crazy. So, it's been good. But I know what you mean. Like, the first 3 weeks or so are cool. And it's like, oh, my God, this is like being back in school on, like, summer holidays again, isn't it?
Holidays all over again, yes.
And then you quickly realise after about 6 weeks that I was getting myself into a bad routine where, like in uni, I was going to sleep about 4 in the morning and waking up in the afternoon. I'm thinking, man, this isn't good.
This isn't where I want to be.
I'd rather be anywhere else right now. But yeah, so it's affecting so many people in so many different ways. Some like a friend of mine, because his missus isn't going to London to work every day, not spending money on, you know, Pret a Manger or whatever it is, £7 for an avocado sandwich, whatever. Over the entire coronavirus period, they've been able to save for a completely new hardwood flooring, getting a dog, and getting their fence completely redone as well. Just because they're just saving money because they're not going to London every day, which is
all those little snacks. Fucking, they cost a bomb, don't they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Get Cat Chunky or remortgage your house in London.
Yeah.
You got to choose. It's one of the two.
Oh, you imagine sitting there fucking so mad at yourself. Like, I just shouldn't have had that Kit Kat Chunky, mate.
It's so Moorish. It's so Moorish. I was going to go for the 4-finger, but no, I needed the Chunky.
You know, butter chunkies, man. They're the tits. Wow.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I'm all for fun and games, mate, but they don't take the piss. Then they're there to fucking. They strike business straight off the bat.
I've now got the camera sorted. Now, if I'm this side, it's light. If I'm this side, it goes dark.
Dark straight off. I keep trying to do the same thing.
It's me blocking out that in the background with my giant head.
See's all sorted now. There it is.
Slightly that way. There we go. That works. It's got an aura.
Just got an aura now. That's it. We don't know whether you're good or evil now. You just got an aura. We'll find that out as time goes on, I'm assuming.
Neutral.
Neutral for now, yeah. We'll see where you're at the end of this. Chaotic evil.
So your alignment goes by the end of it.
Yeah, they call me Neutral Joe.
Neutral Joe. That's going to actually be your nickname from the podcast now. That's it, Joe. You set that up.
Absolutely fine.
Neutral Joe.
Neutral Joe.
Yeah, I mean, in the Depravity chat, I'm known as Wheeler Accounts and Sons Limited because I'm always in charge of who owes what, where it's all going, and everything like that. So that's just a nickname.
The accountant. That's what it is. That's what you need. Someone like that in your life, though. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise, fucking hell, the amount of times you've probably just been sat there and thought, you know what, I'm just going to throw all this money away. Yeah, no. Hold on.
Well, there's certain people in our band. I'm not going to name any names. Connor, who would probably just eat the money instead. If we see it, he goes, well, these chocolate coins are really hard, but I'm going to keep going.
Just keeps chewing them. Shitting gold. Brilliant stuff. I have the same vocation as Connor, though, when it comes to stuff like that, where we'll have a smoke and that's it. We'll just see food and consume.
Oh, he doesn't need to see food to consume. He just consumes.
He just does anyway.
I know there's food inside that jar, but I'm just going to eat the jar.
Yeah. All contents will be
when we recorded the Life is Pain EP, he bought a jar of jalapenos. I was just eating them with a fork.
No.
What?
It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And he's like, and then he complains, he's like, oh, my mouth's really spicy. I'm just like, well, what did you expect?
Did he even break a sweat?
Yeah, I was going to say, I wasn't even there, but apparently, because I was away at the time, but apparently everyone was buying things like, bread, cereal, and all that sort of thing to last them for a couple of days, and apparently that's all he bought.
What?
Just the jalapenos, yeah.
That toilet got ruined. Whatever toilet.
Yeah, when you're sharing a toilet with like 4 other people.
Not even that. 4 other people in a metal band.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Game changer. Absolute game changer. That's when you just need to get used to people's smells. That's when you just sort of keep your mouth shut and just go, I know that was you, but we're not going to talk about it.
it's the look, isn't it? It's almost like it's what other people nickname as the inconceivable nod that you give another gentleman in the toilet. As you go past, you go,
mm-hmm.
Oh, that's it. That's what it is.
That's all it is.
It's almost like the opposite. You just look at something.
The raise of the eyebrow, just like, yep, I know what you've done. I know what you're doing in here. Yep.
Like that. That's
we
all
don't
it
need
is.
to talk about it.
I'm disappointed in you, but kind of, amazed at the same time.
It's not often I get to say that in a toilet, but when I do. Oh, that's concerning, isn't it?
It's really weird when you say in the cubicle to the guy in the next cubicle as well.
Right in his ear as well, yeah. Are you done, sir? Yeah. Need a hand with that? No? You sure? All right, I'll see myself out. See you later. Fucking hell.
Poor bastards.
Well, as you mentioned there, Dan, about Depravity, I was going through this with Matty, actually. I was going back to when you first started out. So it was about 4 years ago now for yourself, wasn't it, when you first came up with Depravity? Was that right?
Oh God.
Yeah, it
we're
was.
going
I
back
think
in
it was
time, man.
about. Yeah, it was about 2016. We did an EP, but it's not actually on any social media anywhere because it's not. It was like the old sound we had, and we weren't really like big fans of it.
Right.
It was more, I want to say like melodic hardcore than anything. So after a while, we kind of were like, we had that out and we used that to like, we toured with it, played a lot of shows with it. And then I think after that, we wanted to just go in a different direction, like more heavy. So that's why we went for the sound we had on the Life is Pain EP. Just because like at the time when we were writing it, we were listening to a lot of more like the heavy hardcore sound, which is, I think it's a bigger thing in America than it is in the UK. Like there are a lot of other heavy hardcore bands in the UK that we've played with, that we are good friends with. But I think the overall sound, it's more of an American influenced thing than because when I think a lot of people, when they think of UK hardcore, it's like metallic hardcore punk.
The sort of what our forefront when you sort of come over to the UK when it comes to hardcore is the sort of stuff that you'll see every day, isn't it? Like I don't know, anything from like your Knuckle Dust all the way through to like your Scottish bands. Certainly Renounce and Revulsion get mentioned quite a lot. There's plenty of other UK hardcore bands that are now eluding me, fucking strangely. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like when you come over straight to the UK, you see we have like this specific wall that we like to show first, like this is us, and then afterwards it's like, but if you're happy with that, then this is the rest of the stuff.
Yeah,
and that's when you start finding all the sort of bands, or like Depravity being one of them there, as being like it's quite a fucking, it's quite a meaty sound that you've got going on. It's a big slap to your ears. So that's what I really enjoy about it.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's it's one of those things where you sort of like when you inch into someone's life and say, oh yeah, this is the kind of thing we have, this is what I'm kind of into, and they go, oh, you like that, and then you go, oh, here we go.
That's it right. They've mentioned that they're fairly okay with it, so we can drop them right down in the deep end. That's it.
It's like when anyone mentions anything about Dungeons and Dragons near me, straight on like, yeah?
What is it you say?
You like to roll dice straight away. It's always been that way with just any aspect of your life that you really hook on to. It's just it's exactly the same. You know, it's like I'm guessing Dan with serial killers. Mention anything around him about them, it's like straight
to knowing what's going on.
Takes one to know one, doesn't it? So.
Yeah, you got to get into the mind of them. Do you know what I mean? I hope you've not killed anyone now, because it's going to be an upsetting fucking release if it is. Oh, by the way, the dude we were speaking to, actually did kill a man.
I mean,
just did it for the clout, innit?
Yeah, I mean, it's food for thought, but there's about 90,000 calories in a human.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
It's
just a side.
I'm taking all this in. I'm just taking this. I'm writing all this down actually, just in case. You don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Just so you know, there's no meat in the hands. Don't go for them.
Go for the hands. Right, fuck the hands off. Right, they're gone. Right. What we're saying about like what's a good thigh like? You seem to know. What you're talking about.
Thigh's pretty good. Put it in a stew. It'll be all right. I mean, also
it'll be all right.
It's technically vegan as well because it's not an animal.
Well, I was I'm with Dan on that one because I'm big into serial killers as well. But I was on Reddit. I've only recently got Reddit. Like, I fell into the black hole.
Oh no, you haven't. Welcome.
And I'm following the serial killers on it. So not actual serial killers. I mean, like
I was going to ask then. I was like, what? We've got an internet following. Yeah, they love me.
You mean the subreddit of like serial killers?
Yeah, I'm following that, and there was one on there that I read. And apparently this was back in like the 30s or something. And there was a woman in Russia and she was killing these people and making them into soap bars and selling the soap bars. So people were washing themselves with like bits of, I think it was like fat or something from the human.
Yeah, it's because they used to make soap out of lard, I think, from like animals.
Yeah, whales used to get turned into it as well. They used to turn whales into...
Horrible for it, weren't they?
How do you turn a whole country into bar soap?
Fucking hell.
It's the whole thing.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, this smells like bergamot and lemon. This is lovely. Is that an eye?
The thing with Reddit, it's either like creepypasta, weird people, or porn. That's it.
Yeah.
Sometimes all three.
Yeah.
Once, yeah, it's just a straight up slap of the triple. Yeah.
And I love the statement. I'm now on that part of Reddit.
Yeah.
I've dug so deep. I found it now.
The void of Reddit.
Yeah.
I've not done that yet. I've not done that yet, thankfully.
Oh, when you venture down that rabbit hole, you'll know.
At least it's not like 4chan, so you're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some dodgy stuff back in the day, wasn't it? Is that still going now? Is 4chan still going?
Must do. I mean, do you want me to Google it for you?
We'll have to find out.
Right, here we go. You're seeing a live set? Yeah, it's still a thing.
Still a thing. Brilliant.
.org is an organisation now.
Oh, they've changed everything now.
Yeah, it's still definitely a thing. Wow, there's a lot of porn on here.
Yeah.
Don't tell your girlfriend about this game.
Oh, it's one of those adverts.
Yeah, you won't last 5 seconds in this game. I will. I'm numb. I'm absolutely numb.
Looking at the screen going, I know what you're trying to do. I know you're trying to get me on this. It's not happening. I don't want to play this game no more. I always lose, man.
5% battery, challenge accepted.
So going back to the music again, like what's the creative process like for you guys when you come to write a song or album, EP?
So specifically with like Life is Pain, obviously that was done back in 2017. They went to, was it Studio 6 with Stu, was it there to get that?
Yeah, man like Stu at Studio 6. I've known about Stu for a long time because obviously a lot of the bands he's recorded, like he recorded like a lot of the old Malevolent stuff, all the old Desolated stuff.
Yeah.
And Stu's he's a really nice guy. Like I get on with Stu so well. Like, and he's one of those people when you record, he's like, we sent him a demo when we recorded like to the demos that we did, and he's kind of like, yeah, that riff's really good, but like, why don't you try, doing it this way or change speed it up, slow it down a bit, and like, it's nice to have like outside
positive encouragement outside of your own ears.
Because sometimes when the five of you have been writing and playing a song for like ages, and then someone else listens to it for the first time, they're like, "Oh, what if you did this?" And you're like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" Like, why didn't we think of that?
Yeah, because he did that with something that we recorded recently as well. I say recently, when was there last time, and he said like, wasn't it he just like upped the BPM by like, was it 5 or 10 BPM?
Yeah, he sped it up by like 10 BPM, and we just
completely changed how the riff in particular
absolute
felt.
game changer, was it? Yeah, that's what we like to hear. That was Malice, was it, with Stu again?
Well, we recorded Malice and we recorded another song which we're just waiting to get a video back for, and then we're actually going to release quite soon. The song's called Last Snail.
Last Snail, sick.
And then we're planning on doing a 4-track EP, which we just got to kind of work out. We're trying to record the other 2 tracks in a way because we want to go back record with Stu, but we can't obviously for the lockdown reasons and social distancing.
All the fucking restrictions that are placed on everyone.
Yeah. It might be a case of having to go there individually rather than going as a whole band. So like, one of us goes and does drums and then vocals and then guitar. So just like it might take, have to spread it out over a bit, but that's what we want to do with the Life is Pain EP. A lot of it we kind of it was kind of written so I'd get sent the guitar and then we'd put drums to it and then I'd write lyrics to it, and then I'd do a rough demo of the vocals and then just tweak it. I've always changed it. Like I'll write a song, get to the studio to record it, and I'll change it like on the day because it's like there's a certain part where I'm like, I'm gonna try and say it, I'm gonna change how it is, like
different sort of manner sort of thing, and making sure you're keeping it listenable as well. Because I know I had a fucking real bad failed attempt of a band, and when it came to like actually doing like the lyrics and like choosing the tempos to go over the actual riffs, I can't do it, mate. It's a fucking piss take. It's absolutely awful.
It is painful sometimes especially when you got like the idea in your head and then you just can't put it to the guitar.
That's right.
Or the instrument of your choice. But I do remember because with the Life is Pain, like I said, I couldn't book the whole day off for it. And I said, guys, like just go and record it.
Yeah.
And then just, come back. And then after they recorded it, I remember I listened to, I think it was 4 of the 5 songs, the lyrics were different on them. And I'm listening to it going, and this isn't right. What's going on? And I messaged
this has changed.
I changed it literally like when we were there. But when it comes to writing the stuff now, a lot of the stuff is like one of us will have like a riff idea, like Mitch or me or Connor. Connor mainly at the moment. He's just like all these ideas that he's coming out with.
Well, yeah, he started off with Abdicator as well there, didn't he? His little side project.
Yeah, he started with that as well. But yeah, which is again taken off as well as something else that he wants to do. So if people can go and check that out, that'd be good. But one of us will like send someone an idea and it'll be like, that actually, I like this, I don't like that, I'll take this apart. And we just dissect the parts that we all really like and then try to jigsaw it together with other things and see what else can work. We've got some songs where parts of them have like all been taken apart and then jigsawed back into another different song with spare parts as well.
Oh, awesome. So it's always chopping and changing stuff and just but still keeping all your content basically.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is, but then there are some songs where we've had like, a couple of bits like we liked it when we first did it, but now we don't. But it's that thing of, but is it because we've listened to it too many times?
Yeah,
which you can become tone deaf to your own stuff. But
self-critical of it all as well, don't you? You sort of play in your own head.
Exactly, yeah. And there's one song in particular that I know that Connor's done recently that he basically sent to both myself and Mitch, the other guitarist, for those who don't know. He basically like, I like this bit. Where do I go from here, sort of thing? And we're both working on it ourselves because I've got myself one of those Focusrite interfaces and just literally just chucking riffs into Reaper, sending it over to him via Google Drive and being like, "What do you reckon on this? Does this work?"
And then loads of back and forth to get it to the right standard.
Yeah, and for those who may have seen, that's how we've done 2 covers recently. Myself and Connor have, and then we've done one with Dan as well on vocals. And that's exactly how we did it. It was sort of like he would lay down the drums, program them, and then just send them to me, and I'll be like, okay, I'll record this through Reaper using free plugins and stuff like that. And also, it teaches you how to record stuff as well. Which has all been good as well. But yeah, and it's all just been practice at the moment, like using the time we've got, time where I'm not going outside and doing stuff to learn better recording and stuff. And yeah, I've also been taking, another thing is to help with writing as well. I've also been taking guitar lessons as well, namely from Ben Sutherland in Harbinger.
And XR Cranier as well. I do remember.
That's right.
You guys played with Art Cranier at one point, which I remember. Was that Fall in the Brawl that you did that with?
That was Fall in the Brawl, and I think a couple of times in mine and Dan's previous band as well. Yeah,
we played with a Cranier like loads of times in our old band.
Yeah.
Was that like down in London and that as well? Because I know they were they were a London-based band, weren't they? Pretty much.
London, Brighton, a couple of other places.
That was right, yeah. It was London and Brighton were the 2 that I remember in particular. But yeah, and he's been teaching me just loads of stuff. It's because I recently found out something like to learn stuff. I learn better when someone tells me how to do it. I can't learn something by reading it up and
right. So there's like that makes sense.
The second I found that out, I was like, well, I need someone to teach me. I mean, it even comes into something stupid like reading the contents of a letter. If I get a letter and I say, can you read this to me? All the information goes in. If I read it myself,
it doesn't.
None of the information contains. So I've been seeing a therapist about recently. It's helping out. But yeah, just getting Ben to teach me stuff like this is this scale. It's like that makes sense now.
Now that you've explained it to me,
yeah. It's mad. Everyone learns differently. But saying when it comes to the new material, we've got a lot of bits as well that are working together. But we've got enough for this EP and soon maybe an album.
Yeah, I think we're doing a 4-track EP and then we're going to do an album. We've pretty much got, I think, like six songs that we're pretty much about 90% sure we're going to stay how they are. But it's not something we want to get like everything done for this next EP done first. And then once that's out of the way, we're going to look to do like a longer record. Because it's been like it's in November this year. It's like 3 years since we did our last EP, so we feel it's time that we got something new out there. It's just where we've had from doing Life Is Pain to where we are now. We've had like and before that, we just had like a lot of lineup changes, and we've had a lot of like internal issues. Like we had like we were with like a management company, and we had a manager, and it was just like a big, like we basically wasted a year because we didn't do anything because we thought the people we were working with were like trying their hardest to do things for us, but they kind of weren't. So that's why we work with our mate Matt now, who does from Mean Streak.
Mean Streak Management, isn't it? Yeah.
And Matt's like he does everything he can for us, and we do everything we can. We like manage we manage ourselves. He books for us, but it's just one of them things really. Like we've had bad experiences in the past, so we kind of just wanted to just take a step back, just write music, and that's why we didn't play a lot of shows for a while, because we were just there was a point where we weren't sure if we were going to carry on, because we had like so many like just things knocking us back. We kind of was just like we weren't sure if we were going to bother, and then like obviously as soon as you play another show again, you're just like, why am I thinking about quitting? Like this is like
this is the best thing ever.
Like
it's almost like the human equivalent of getting lots of bad relationships, then just saying I'm never dating again. It was sort of like that. We had quite a few letdowns in the actual band itself, and because of that, it put us off wanting to carry on, and which was kind of we'd say about 2 years ago. It was one of the reasons I originally left about 2 years ago. It was just constant letdown after letdown, and also I was at a point in my life where I had a lot of stuff up here that I needed to sort out. And anyone out there who's got any issues whatsoever, for the love of God, put yourself before your band. For the love of God, because otherwise you might not even be here later on. At a point later on.
Of course,
but I took myself.
As you say, man.
Exactly. Yeah, I told the guys like way in advance. I think it was like March of the year, and I said we're playing Fall in the Brawl in November. I'm going to leave the band then. We've got like 9 months now to find another guitarist. I think it was like the next week or something like that. Myself and Dan were in our local town. We met up with Mitch, who used to be the guitarist in the first band I was in.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, so like, are you looking for a band? So he went, yeah. He said, I wouldn't mind playing again. Like, it's been a while. And I was like, funny you should mention that. These guys need another guitarist. I'm going. See ya. I was like, yeah. And so Dan and Mitch have been friends for ages anyways. And he took over from there, and he fit in very well. He was very much like me in terms of playing and everything in the first band. So I knew he'd be great in this one. And then, it was about 2 years later where the other guitarist couldn't make a run of shows. And I got a message from, I think it was Dan sent me a message saying, hey man, could you cover for a few shows? The set's still the same, all this, that and the other. I'm sat there like, do I do it? And it was like 2 years later. And I remember at the time, my girlfriend was like, you're going to rejoin, aren't you? You're going to go back to it, aren't you? I was like, no, I'll be all right. One show later, I'm sending her a text saying, sorry. It's happening.
You were right. I should have listened to you.
Yeah, you were right. I should have listened to you.
Came back in the end. It's all good.
Yeah, I came back to you, yeah. There was that one, I can't remember what it was. There was in one of the lines of one song, was it like, is it Life is Pain? When I lost you, I lost everything. And I remember I went to see these guys once, and Dan pointed out to me, like, before I rejoined, when I lost you, I lost everything. I was like, babe.
Don't do this to me, man. I'm going to start crying.
And then, I had to come back. And then, I just slotted back in straight away. And, got Mitch in the band now. And I think we're probably the best we've ever been at the moment, especially in terms of, like, getting shows sorted out, getting things done. We're playing more now than ever as well, even like pre-coronavirus this is.
Of course.
Yeah, and actually writing more material as well, which is just, it's so refreshing. It's like, again, getting out of a really bad relationship and then getting with someone who clicks with you.
Fresh. We need the fresh. Exactly. I remember, I think the last time I saw you guys was I want to say it was the Broken Humanity tour. The Weekender.
Which was the first one I came back to, I believe.
I think it was. I remember that was the first time I met you, and it was in Retro Bar, wasn't it?
I played with Voice of Treason as well.
Voice of Treason, Broken Humanity. Who else was there?
There was meant to be a band from Sweden, but they got stuck at the airport or something. So they didn't
No Saving Grace, that was it. No Saving Grace were meant to show up, and they couldn't, so they got stuck. And then there was Voice of Treason. Was there another band that played in the end?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think it was just the three of us. Yeah.
It was 3 in the end. I think there was 5 booked, but 3. Yeah, because I think No Saving Grace and the other band had shared members. That was it. Yeah, that I think that was the last time I saw you guys. So that would have been, as you say there, Joe, your first mosh back.
Yeah,
fucking well received.
I wasn't nervous in the slightest.
To be fair, it didn't show like you were nervous at all. You just went
If
straight
he was
up
on the stage, you would have smelt the fart. If he was on the stage, just all set, the entire set, just absolute nightmare. Then was it at the end of the set? Was it the guys in Gassed Up who were there as well? Said play Wayside, and we looked at each other and we're like, we haven't played this in years. Like, let's just try it. Let's just
give it a go.
That was fun. Yeah, that was that was a good weekender until the last two shows where was it Broken Humanity got their van broken into.
That was down in London when that happened?
In London, No.
We were meant to play London after Sheffield. And I think I can't remember, they stayed somewhere halfway between, and they got the windows of their car that they were in. Someone that smashed all their windows, so they couldn't play the London show, unfortunately, and they had to go back on. But it sucks. That was unfortunate for them. But I know they want to come back, and I'd love to play shows with them again because they're like I hadn't heard of them before, and then when Matt was like, "Oh, do you want to tour with them?" I was like, "Yeah, do you know what? I'll check them out." And I was the first time I heard them, I was like, "Yo, fucking hell,
this is it." Yeah, we're going on tour with them straight away. Boing.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that tour. I think the first time I ever caught Depravity was Manchester at the. Do you remember the Tone Management Showcase?
The one that Leach played. Yeah.
When we played with a drum machine.
It was still good though. I still remember it. I remember it was Leached. Who else was on it? Renounced, Revulsion, Depravity.
I can't remember who else was on that.
Smith, your memories is ridiculous. Like, how do you he's remembering the dates, the times, everything.
Oh, mate, I'm like Rain Man for shit like this.
He remembers the topping he had on his kebab that night as well.
He probably
garlic mayo, bit of salad. Fuck the salad, man. Fuck a salad. That's what I say. That was the first time I think I caught his in Manchester. That was Manchester, you idiot. Plymouth as well. That was OCHC Fest, if you remember.
Yeah. I remember that one. Yeah.
Those lot got me drunk. Not Depravity, but the Plymouth lot. They didn't get me drunk. Actually, they just turned up and said, "Alex, there's a bar over there." I went, "All right, game on." And then I remember thinking I was like Tommy 10 Men and taking the mic off of Dan here, and Dan was sort of like, "I'll let him." But
was that when you drifted?
No. So OCHC Fest it ended up being No Second Chance, Strike Back, Depravity. I think Harriet played as well.
It was that Welsh band called
Hunger Strike.
Yeah, Hunger Strike. Yeah, and Vision Quest played as well because it was Vision Quest, Hunger Strike, us, Strike Back, No Second Chance. Yeah. Joe, you think we played Plymouth with Drifted when we had the first the record, the old record.
You've played Plymouth a couple of times now, haven't you? I think that was 3 or 4 times.
That was 15 drummers ago.
Yeah.
15
drummers, 2 machines.
Literally, Ben, our drummer now, is like our 15th drummer.
Yeah, that's not actually a lie.
No exaggeration there. He's the 15th. Well, they say boys 15th time lucky, right?
Yeah.
Apparently so.
He got like a partnership, didn't he? Through
he has a drumstick endorsement with Collision. Is it Collision or Collison? It's Collision.
Yeah, Collision. Yeah.
One of the two.
I don't know why I just want to say Collison, but I don't think that's it.
Collison or Collision.
Like a drum company.
It's either one. I do know that much. You've well, I mean, when you release Life is Pain, certainly. So that was 2017. There, you toured extensively there. London, fucking Manchester, Liverpool, Plymouth, Newcastle, Sheffield. You went all over the place, didn't you? And played a lot of heavy shows. So obviously you had like, I don't know, sort of like the former bro, so sort of like a little bit slammy side of things, I guess. So you'd have been like there with that was like the likes of Begging for Incest, Cranium, Internal Bleeding. And then you had one with Last 10 Seconds of Life you played with as well. You did a couple of tours with them.
We played
I know this is painful for you, Joe. I'm so sorry, man. I'm bringing up what you didn't do. There we go.
My favourite fucking band, and they toured with them.
It's what you get for leaving, you dickhead.
It's like, yeah, I mean, you only have yourself to blame there, man.
I do.
Yeah,
But at least you're back now, though. So that's what matters.
We opened the show they played in London on their tour, which is like, it's really good. Like, Last 10 are probably one of the few big bands we've played with, because like throughout the years, like me and Joe have been in bands. We've opened for fucking I Declare War.
I literally had I Declare War and Aegean written down. I was like, heavy bands, man.
We've opened for so many bands, but like I Declare War, like probably not I Declare War. Last 10, sorry, are probably like one of the first bands who have actually. I've seen them watch our set and then afterwards come up to us and been like, yo, like, you guys are really good. We really like,
actually paid attention to yourself.
What you're playing. Yeah, like, I understand, like, touring bands, like big touring bands from America, they don't get a lot of free time to do what they want. So they're not always going to be like, I'm not sitting there being like, you need to watch the opening band. Like, how dare you not watch them? Because
no, of course not.
Each to their own.
Sometimes
like,
it is impossible.
Yeah, but like every time, like when we played with I Declare War and Aegean, like there was like one or two members of the bands who were like in the venue at the time, so they probably do check you out. Like they probably
Who else was on there? Was it A Night in Texas were on that as well?
A Night in Texas as well were on that tour there. I think you had the London show was like a big fucking near enough an all day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a long show.
Yeah. That was a very especially when you're opening it and it's an all day and you're like,
and it's at the the Dome in Tufnell Park as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
I see. I've yet to be to a London show, and it really bothers me because the amount of London shows that I get to see announced everywhere, and like seeing like bands like yourselves on them, I'm like, I want to make the journey, but it's fucking length.
It is a long. I would say even for us, like we're in Essex, but even so, it's still like a bit like an hour plus just to get into London, and then use the tube system if you can decipher it.
Then, I've been told it's the fucking proper most confusing thing you've ever seen in the UK.
It is a bit weird, yeah. It is one of the weirdest things you'll ever see. Like even more weird than Milton Keynes, because that place just.
Oh mate, yeah. I tell you what, there's some places that we've got in our little land, but Milton Keynes, not to chat shit on it, but it's not the best. I think I've only ever been there twice, and I think both times have been a bad time. So maybe it was just me, but maybe Milton Keynes had a lot to play along with it. So.
The only other place that I thought was a bit weird, I went to, it was a particular part in Southampton that I went to. And I was starving hungry, and I went to a chippy, and the only thing he had was a mushy pea fritter. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love mushy peas. I love batter. Not the two together. It looked like he just sneezed in the batter and then just like, there you go, you can have that.
Your meal, sir? I'm busy that day.
Have you been down to Wigan yet? Have you ever been down to Wigan?
They stayed in Ashton, mate. So yeah, they stayed at ours.
Oh, you stayed at yours, yeah. But because they're not trying to Babby's Shed, have they?
Wigan. Pay wet and Babby's Shed.
Pay wet and a Babby's Shed.
Yeah, that's a dead northern tea. What is it, Matty? Go on, mate.
So what would you think a Babby's Shed is?
I don't know. I didn't think you were speaking English for a second.
It's Wiganese.
We call it Wiganese.
Wiganese.
Yeah. You see an old bloke walking down the street, and I've explained this to so many people now, right? But like old Wiganese men, right? They don't speak properly at each other. They just mumble. All right, mate. Anything going on? All right, well, that's how they speak at each other. So obviously, a lot of old people have different things, but like that's the Wigan term of it.
So this Babby's Shed or whatever it is?
Babby's Shed, right.
Babby's
so
Shed.
If you went into a chippy and you asked for a Babby's Shed, what do you think you'd get?
I mean, I get the feeling it's like, I don't know, some sort of like something on chips, but I get the feeling it's going to be like, I don't know, whatever they scraped off the bottom of the sea.
Urchins.
No, not even that, just sand and grit. There you go.
Yeah. So a Babby's Shed is basically a pie, meat and potato pie, or as we say in Wigan, meat and tatty pie.
Meat and tatty pie.
Right. Turned upside down, right?
Right.
And it's doused in gravy. So it looks like a baby's head popping out. I don't know why they called it that. Like, I've not a clue. And then they usually put peas on it. And then pay wet is basically all the juice you get from the peas when you make it. Just all the juice.
Oh my God.
Pay wet.
Basically, it sounds hanging, but I don't know. If you try it once or twice, you go, Joe, I wouldn't always ask for this, but I'll have it. It's not something you'd like really go ask for, though.
Yeah, it's like when I was back in like my first band with Mitch Finisher. We did a couple of shows up north, and we got introduced to is it a Parmo or whatever it is? I don't know if you've heard this one. I think it's how they got a Parmo, but it's basically like it's like a pizza, but instead of a base, it's a chicken breast flattened out.
What? I've never heard this before.
It's like a flattened chicken breast, bechamel sauce and tomato sauce, and then a sort of topping. And whatever you do, you have to make sure you got some Gaviscon nearby, because fuck me, the amount of stomach acid coming out of everything in your face once you've eaten one is ridiculous. And it soaks up all the alcohol.
What was it called again?
It's like a Parmo or something like that. I think that's what it was. This has been about 10 years ago and about 7 kicks in the head later. So
I think he said Parmo, I'll have it.
yeah, something like that. Chicken. Bechamel sauce. I don't know why. But yeah, some of the things you get like around the country are weird. It's like, and where you're from, what do you call a bread roll?
I knew this was coming. Well, so we call it a bam.
No, you call it a balm. I'm civilized and from other parts of the country where I call it a roll.
Yeah, roll
it's a
here
roll.
as well.
See what's mate? You're outnumbered now, mate.
I know.
Fuck your balm. Honestly, I've got into so many arguments with northern people about what type of fucking bread it is, and they get serious. I'm like, listen, man, that's why you're stressing it. It's a roll. Get over it. And then if you go look and you show them the package, you know, say like 6-pack of rolls, and they're like, nope, it's a balm.
But Warburton's did do one where it said bam cakes in it as well.
It did. And there was a reason for that. The reason the difference is, Matty, just to clarify
just settling the dispute.
I want to settle it here.
Hang on, just before we continue, there are other bread roll suppliers available, not just Warburton's. We are not sponsored.
We're not privy to just Warburton's. We do branch out, but shout out the Warby rolls.
Hardcore podcast sponsored by Warburton's.
Can you imagine?
That'd be so good.
Just let them get really stale and just throw them at people in the pit.
Yeah. Mate, I could launch them out my window at people. Fuck off. It's like what was it, Nedge's Urban Sports?
That's it, yeah.
Nedgy fucking donut, yes.
Spinning around a bag of like with bagels or something like that.
Like a flail, just put them on a stick with a chain.
And every now and then one of them just fly off and smacks them on the head. You just got
rolled. Sesame seed, watch out.
They're fucking lethal. The difference actually between, I think it was a bread roll and a balm, is literally in the way that it's actually, I think it was grown. Like, you know, like the yeast, in the way that the yeast is done. I think that's the only difference between why one is a balm and one is a roll. But the common name for it, and will forever be, whether humanity cares about it or not, is a fucking roll.
Well, I had a funny experience on it, and we was recording with a band like down south. It was in Chelsea. I was recording like nearby there, so we decided to go to like a sandwich shop to get what I thought I was asking for was a ham and cheese bam, right? Completely forgot that you call it different there, right? So I went into this shop, asked for a ham and cheese bam. She looked at me like I was a fucking alien, right? Right. So then I started going through like the list of all the names, so like roll, bread roll, bap, like everything I could name, and she's still looking at me fucking weirdly, and I'm like, what do you call it then? And she ended up giving me a fucking baguette. Like I walked in with a baguette. But like, I don't know.
If you're in Chelsea, the reason she looks at you is because you didn't specify what cheese you wanted.
Yeah.
Sorry, was it brie? I'll have brie. What type of brie? Oh my god!
It's probably as soon as she heard the accent.
Yeah. It's the accent dispute is always always one for the UK, isn't it? What do you fucking mean? Like, no, sir, it was not like that.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who speaks like that, thinking about it now.
I was going to say, the funny thing is my girlfriend lived in York for about 2.5 years, and then when she came back to Northampton, where she lives now, every now and then little bits will just
little northern twangs come out, and you go
little bits
what
here and there. Yeah. It's always the word no that gets her, because like it's like nah mate or anything like that, but first no like that show. Like,
oh yeah, it's prolonged, and you go
the fuck where did that come from?
She says something. She says your name. Like I'd be like Joe. She's like Joe.
Yeah, always the way.
Joe. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
That's proper Yorkshire way on, isn't it?
She has been down further south enough for the word the to have come back though. That's nice.
Right.
It did disappear just for a while.
Into road. Yeah.
And it came back.
That's what it's like around here. So as you say, we've got it Wigan A's.
Well, that's like when you move to like Essex, like I'm from East London, like originally, and like Essex area, like the letter H, like it don't exist.
Gone.
Yeah, gone, disappeared.
Like it's like I'll have and and A's as well. Like, it's like I have a glass of water.
Water.
Yeah,
A's.
water.
And I can't I can't say the word horse. Like horse. It's
Horse.
Yeah,
Horse.
it's like, oh yeah, that guy over there on that horse. It's like, no, it's a horse. I'm like, no, it's horse, mate. It's spelled HAWSE, like horse.
Yeah.
When you was in Vegas, what your brother did.
Oh no, like my brother had a stag do in Vegas.
Awesome.
And we rang. We're trying to book, like, it was the last day and we had nothing to do, so we're trying to book, like, because there's like so many of us. There was like 19 of us. Like everything you did, you had to book like a private section, otherwise they wouldn't let you in. So they tried to book like a cabana thing at a pool party, and the guy's rung up the guy in America, and he's like, have you got space for 18 fridge freezers? And the guy's on the phone like, what?
You know, fucking fridge freezers.
You know, bunch of
Jesus.
freezers.
Bunch of Jesus. And even then he was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Did it get ordered in the end?
No, they were booked anyway. But
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Even
But
after
the other one for me is the word something. It's always saying.
Saying,
Dan did it as well, yeah. And it's saying that again. My girlfriend always pulls me up whenever I go, oh yeah, well, saying like that. She goes, saying? I went, yeah, saying.
Yeah.
Saying.
That's exactly what I mean.
Something like that, yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at that horse.
Yeah. No. Constantly having a go at each other.
Yeah, in two completely different languages.
Bristol's the same. Like, if I get really, really drunk, I go really southwestern, and I'm everyone's mate. And it's just like, all right, mate, how's it going down here? What, you not having a pint of cider later on or nothing now? And like, if I get off like any transport, it's always cheers drive. Like, that's another southwestern thing that you get a lot. But that's only when I'm really, really hammered. Otherwise, I've got I don't know, it's a bit of a dodgy accent, really. It's mongrel. It's like a bit of north and a bit of south. So some of the words that I do say, you'll be like, yeah, he's not from around here. But then there's other words I say, and you'll be like, oh, he's northern like me. I can't escape it. I'm like part Wiganese.
Whereas Matt's there looking like a thoroughbred.
Yeah, thoroughbred.
Oh yeah,
Wigan's all I know. Like
that knows I'm from Wigan when that speaks.
Pedigree Wigan.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, did you actually grow up around Essex then, Dan? Is that right?
Yeah, I've lived here for about 17 years.
Fucking hell, so yeah, pretty deep ingrained then.
So, yeah, I can't say I'm 100% Towie, but like,
enough to know that you're a part of it.
enough to like live here. Like, I don't drive a white Range Rover or anything, but I've lived here long enough to know, like, kind of, it's kind of changed because like I used to live in, I was born in Leighton, and I used to live in like Enfield, Walthamstow, like around that, like north, like East London, North London.
Yeah.
And like, you obviously like how everyone talks down there anyway. Like, back in the day, it was probably more Cockney, but now it's like just like pure road.
A bit more pronounced and posher, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, it's how other people from the country talk when they're trying to act hard. They'd be like, fam, bruv, like.
Yeah.
But like, they just, obviously that's what you see, like when you hear like grime artists, and when you watch like films about like, you know, young kids in London, that's how they talk. So like everyone takes on that. Like, again, like my accent's a bit weird, like, because I got like the London twang, I got the Essex twang. My mum's from Carlisle, like my family's from like Worcester, so like,
oh, you're dotted about the shop then, aren't you?
Yeah, like all over the gaff. So like, and then sometimes when I think about it, I can talk quite eloquently, but
when it's necessary.
When it's necessary, yeah. Like when you're on the phone, like
Matt's looking at you now like, you mongrel scum.
Yeah, that's it. He's judging you from afar.
Nah, it keeps it like it's just one of the things. Like, I think accents are funny because like there's parts of the UK I go to somewhere in the UK I've never been before, and you just assume that they'll talk like you. And then like if you say to someone from Manchester that they sound like they're like, oh, you sound like you're from Sheffield, and they're like, don't you fucking dare say I sound like I'm from Sheffield. I'm from Manchester. I'm just like, all right, you're
dead proud.
Like, once you get above London, you're northern. Like,
yeah, that is it. Yeah, as soon as you're above London,
you go past the Midlands, and then you're northern. That's it.
Yeah,
I've always thought this. I'm like, it's crazy because like there must be a boundary somewhere between each one of these like places where the accent just changes. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's about it. I find it
Just
crazy.
a little cut-off point.
Yeah, there's like a line where the accent changes. So like your next door neighbour could be like from the Scouts, but then the next door neighbour to them could be from Manchester. It's fucking weird, isn't it? But I know it's obviously not that exact.
Yeah, I guess I just scribbled a line across the UK.
See this line here.
Before you move in,
this
like,
side of the line.
Like our drummer's from Northampton, so he's got like a Midlands accent, but he's originally from Birmingham, so he has like that Brummy twang as well sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think like when you have us all in a van, like Connor's from Essex, so he talks like me, and Mitch is from like he lives in Hertford, doesn't he, like Hertfordshire?
That's right, yeah, Hertford.
So his Essex, his accent's like similar to mine, and like Joe, it's similar to Joe's, and then obviously you got Ben. So it's quite funny.
It is quite funny to listen to sometimes, but yeah.
Diverse little throw around.
The one I get all the time though is whenever I go to London, I'll like say, "Can I have a pint of Coke, please?" And then the person goes, "Oh, you from the other side of the pond?" I'm like, "What pond's that?" And they go, "You from Australia?" I don't get it. I mean, Dan's been there a couple of times when it's happened. People have said that, "Are you from Australia?" It's like, no, I don't even get where that one comes from, like at all.
And in the other side of the pond, when you describe it, America anyway.
I mean, it depends what ponds, really.
Yeah,
There's a couple of ponds.
I'm just thinking of Green Street when he's when they're talking. He's like, "Oh, are you from the other side of the pond then, my colonial cousin?"
Yeah, because they're talking about the south of the river, innit?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And
Good
so
old Green Street.
the other thing is that the other thing that I get as well is a lot of people don't know that I'm from Essex, and when I talk for the first time, they go, "Oh, you don't sound like you're from Essex." It's like, is that a compliment? I don't get that one.
Joe's just like sharp.
Oh, sharp.
Over exaggerated just to let them know. So obviously, with you two growing up in Essex, then I mean, like, I know whether you do or not, there was a podcast that came out a couple of weeks back, the Then and Now podcast. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the guys from that recently. I didn't actually. When the town we live in, we had a venue. It was called The Square. It's been around since like the 60s, 70s?
Something like that, yeah. It's been a
but like any band you can think of, they played it. Like Foo Fighters, fucking Bring Me the Horizon. I saw Enter Shikari there before they released Take to the Skies.
Fucking hell, so good.
So like
good long while back.
When they were having when they had all their demos and stuff, like I saw them there. Like there's so many bands that have played that venue that are like massive now, and then they recently knocked it down and turned it into flats because that's what the UK needs more. More housing. So like when that venue went, like apart from me going to shows in London, there wasn't really many that I like growing up. The scene for me, like the metal scene, like hardcore scene for me was more London based, and then when bands played shows in the town I lived in, they'd like come there and like they used to have shows in Southend, Chelmsford, Colchester, but they were all like when I was too young.
Too young, wasn't it? Yeah, I was going to say, when I was reading up on all the stuff like that, it was like noughties era, wasn't it? Or just a tiny bit afterwards. Like
I didn't get into proper like heavy stuff until must be like 2004, something like that.
So you were just afterwards, after they'd all sort of packed it in and decided to go raise families and that. You were like,
basically, like I think the first punk band I listened to when I was like 11 was like MDC, Black Flag, like Dead Kennedy, stuff like that. Like that got me into hardcore, like listening to punk. But my parents grew up, they listened to like, my mum was well into like Duran Duran and Depeche Mode and like all the synthy stuff, and my dad's more Elvis, like Rat Pack, like stuff like that. So like I didn't have that influence from my family members who were like, oh yeah, listen to this metal band. Whereas like I know a lot of my friends, they grew up and their like dad was making them listen to Iron Maiden when they were like 4 years old.
Yeah.
Like the first metal band I listened to with my brother was Linkin Park.
Yep.
Because like I listened to a lot of rap music
Linkin
as
Park,
well.
yeah.
So the crossover for that it helped me get into it, and then from there I went from like, I discovered like pretty much all the generic metal bands that kids listen to when they're like in that Grebo age, like like System of a Down, Slipknot, like all them. I decided to stop washing my hair when I started listening to these bands.
It comes with the territory, doesn't it? It's just how we sort of went about. It was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna just get really angry and just not shower. All right.
Yeah, so like that's like for me, like I went to a lot of shows when I was the first band I saw in concert. I think I was like 14. Was Evanescence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which was
did you get brought to life?
Yeah, woke me up inside, man. 100%.
Yeah.
It was good.
Oh,
like
mate, that joke was going under from the start.
Oh, jeez. It's just like when
the
you're
exit's over it. I'm just going to see myself out. I'm just going to let you boys carry on.
It's just like being a 14-year-old boy and like watching Amy Lee on stage. Like you're just a bit like, yeah, I'll have a bit of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was either Amy Lee or Hayley Williams.
Yeah,
those were the two.
Yeah, bit of that. I started going to So then, for me, like the main shows I went to were in London. There used to be a festival in London called Give It a Name Festival.
Yep.
And I think they did like 2 or 3, and it wasn't around anymore. But like the year I went, like the 2 headliners were Glassjaw and Paramore.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I know. So it was quite. And then bands played were like Devil Wears Prada, like.
Mate, I love Devil Wears Prada. One of my favorites.
Scary Kids scaring kids.
You remember those? They were like MySpace stays almost.
I actually used to have a MySpace page, and I used to listen to loads of bands on MySpace. I know MySpace a lot of people nowadays are not like really like privy to the days of MySpace, where you'd click on someone's profile and their song that they had loaded would play straight away, and you just die of a heart attack because because Count Your Blessings came on. Like as soon as you click on their MySpace page, it was just like, oh, let's Bring the Horizon player.
Yeah. I'll never forget clicking on someone's profile once, and it was Job for Cowboys Entombment of a Machine.
You click on their profile,
that's
it's just
what I had. That was mine. That's exactly what I had.
And it was just after the drum fill, and then the scream, and every time, shit my pants every time, and I knew it was coming. Like, oh man, they were the days. Good old MySpace. Fucking hell.
I'm just about to go on MySpace. Go to the toilet first. I'll come back. Right, I'm clear.
The loading
This will
time,
be fine.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, they were fucking. Oh, that was a lengthy process. Like,
I remember like the internet before Wi-Fi as well, like dial up, man. Like I wanted to like come home from school and play RuneScape, but my mum was on the phone, so like,
get off the phone.
It's like I need to go to the wilderness with my friends.
I need to mine ore. Yeah, man, smithing and shit.
I'm trying to get that full adamant armor, bro. Like,
yes, man, PKing all over in the wilderness.
Yeah, PKing in the wildy. Asking your mum for a bank detail so you could get a membership on.
Membership, yes. Oh man, fucking hell, those were the days. Running home, it was either RuneScape or when you got a 360 or PlayStation 3. It was Modern Warfare 2. Everyone.
Yeah.
Back when I was at school, it was PS2, so I can't really comment on that.
I had PS2 as well. I had the worst console ever invented, which is a Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah.
That was
they really they really bombed, man.
I think the only game I had on it was like Sonic the Hedgehog. That's it. Like I don't actually think they had any other games on there.
No, it was so bad. I've still got Sonic on my GameCube now. I pulled it out a couple of months ago, and I was like brushing the dust off it, and I found these. Mate, the GameCube discs are so tiny.
They're like that.
Literally, and it was like for the plastic that you were buying around the case.
Yeah, I will say though, the GameCube controller is still to this day one of the most comfy controllers I've ever held.
Oh, mate, so
nice. It's like,
you forget you were playing with it. Like your hands were just in a nice position all the time.
I was in because I was always a PlayStation guy, and then when a friend of mine was like, "Here's my Xbox control," I'm like,
this clunky motherfucker, I don't want this.
The hell is this?
That's like going from a N64 controller to a PlayStation controller. You're like, where's the extra buttons gone?
Yeah. This has half the amount of buttons on it. What the hell?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So with the shows that you went to in London, then, so who did you sort of like grow up seeing? Then obviously we mentioned there that you went to the Glassjaw, Paramore, Devil Wears Prada. What was the fest called again?
Give It a Name.
Give It a Name fest.
I've actually got a signed photo here from the very first show I ever went to.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Oh, that's sick.
Slipknot, Machine Head and Bodom. That's amazing. Mate.
I can smell that gig from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can I. Still here.
Still ingrained in his hair. Like.
Still there. And that's it's also been signed by Paul Gray as well, so that's worth a little bit of money right now.
Our co-host Matt will be actually kicking himself when he sees this back, because he is one of, if not one of the biggest Slipknot fans I think I've ever met in my entire life.
That was a pretty sick show, and at the time I was like, I really liked Children of Bodom. I only heard a bit of Machine Head at that time, because I was more into deathcore than like mainstream metal,
sort of heaviness. Yeah.
And that show was when Machine Head had just released The Blackening as well. It was that same year, and that was a good show. It's really good. But
so I remember to catch Bodom. That they're a band
that fully went off.
Yeah. The first show I ever went to at the Square, though, funny enough, was actually with Dan's first band.
Oh no.
Yeah, and was it TRC were playing as well?
Yes.
Yeah, it was TRC and your first band. I remember actually meeting you at that show, and that was like 14 years ago or something like that now.
I was 15 when I played that show, so like 15, 16, so yeah, like 11 years ago. It was TRC.
TRC, that was your first opening show?
Yeah, like one of the first bands my show played is TRC, supported by Lower Than Atlantis.
Yeah. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it was a weird show, and then my band played, and we're like synth metalcore.
Yeah.
It was questioning, like,
yeah, it was
this
so
isn't Lower
weird.
Than Atlantis or TRC.
It was like, let's just whack that band on. They're local. It doesn't matter.
They'll pull some people in. It'll be all right. Imagine Lower Than Atlantis with TRC though. What a crossover, man.
Very, very odd.
That would have been when TRC only had was it like London Kings EP out and stuff?
I know they had Haters was out. I know that song was out at that point, whether or not if it was recorded or not. But I remember that was the first song that they played when they came on stage. I was like, I actually really like these guys. It's pretty cool. Because at the time, I remember I was getting into bands like The Gallows and bands like that.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, these guys are pretty sick. And then, that's when I went from more like deathcore towards hardcore as well, like actually like absorbing a bit more.
I can sit here and name like all the bands that were from near where I was with, like all the bands that I saw when I was younger, like all my friends' bands, stuff like that, like stuff. Yeah, just bands like I kind of like from metal and like obviously like listen to like Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, like 36 Crazy Fists, like
what a band, man!
All that kind of like all that crossover kind of like stuff. It's like I listen to more hardcore punk than anything else, and like when your music taste just gets like, I started off with like metal, like kind of like the emo grunge, and then like indie music, and then like I got into Cannibal Corpse and Black Dahlia Murder, and then from there it was like oh, Job for a Cowboy, oh, Whitechapel, oh, Carnifex, like what I mean, like
you just
Oceana, like bloody impending doom and Rose Funeral, and all that stuff. Like I think it's important like to keep influences when you write music. So like especially with the EP, like the Life is Pain EP, like there's a lot of stuff on there that is very like it is deathcore influence, because like we just like writing music that we like to play. So I don't want to be like a band that's like they kind of see what sound is popular and then they just
emulate it, don't they? They just become a carbon copy of it.
Yeah, which is good, because like people will like them because it's current and it's popular. With hardcore, I think like hardcore punk is probably one of the very few genres that has been consistently popular. Like more so, like up and coming hardcore bands in America seem to blow up so much more than UK bands.
Yeah, I've always noticed that. Is there a reason why? Do they just promote differently to how we do?
I think it's just a bigger country. Like you can be from the East Coast of America and you can tour the East Coast, and that's thousands of people. But you can be like a band that's like up and coming hardcore band here, and you can tour like you can do like a weekend with like another band, and it's like you play like 4 places, and it's like at max it's like what, like you get like 30 people at each show. It's like 200 people. So like I think it's just like
it's just the reach, isn't it? Really.
And and then you have to like, if you break into Europe, then like obviously you get more noticed that way. There's a lot of bands that I know from when I was younger, and they're still going now, and or they have recently stopped being bands.
Yeah.
And they've basically like they've done it also. It's like when you're younger, you see those bands and you're like, oh, this is the band I wanna, they're like I want to do what they do kind of thing.
Of course.
And it's just like nowadays, I think like we love music because like we listen to it all the time, we play it, like it's what I love doing. Like it keeps me sane. Do you know what I mean? Like so we like writing music and playing music that we like to play. Like I don't think I could be in a band that wasn't kind of like the music I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we take ourselves seriously, but at the same time, like we're just a bunch of guys who like to just fuck about, really. Like
just a bunch of cool dudes who listen to metal and wanna share and spin your own idea of it out to everyone else. I say metal, I use the term metal loosely, but it just covers everything. It makes everything.
Yeah. It's like if you want to, I don't
hole in it all.
Don't sit here and get into like 50 million subgenres because there's like a new one every week.
So many. Yeah, there really is. It'll be. There's so many different names to them now. It's like even I can't keep up with it, and YouTube will probably be the same.
If you miss genre a band, like some people get very defensive. It's like, how dare you call them death metal? They're avant-garde, technical jazz death. Okay.
Yeah.
Please don't miss genre of my band.
Yeah,
so that's YouTube comments all over.
Yeah, with playing shows in like America and stuff like that. All we have to do is look at a video by like Hate56 or anything like that, and just see how many people go to a show as well. They're like, oh yeah, we're playing our mate Gary's back garden in 3 weeks' time or something like that, and then you just look and there's just so many people there.
Yeah, like 200 people have turned up and they're fucking ready to go.
You see that? You see that band who played a Denny's Dine at that time? And they stretched it.
That was Body Snatcher, yeah.
Body Snatcher. Back in the day, yeah.
Yo, Denny's, what the fuck is up?
What the fuck is up, Denny's?
Have you seen that? Have you seen that video of the guy, the Domino's guy, delivers a pizza and he grabs the microphone? That band is called, I think they're called Broadmoor. I think that's what band is.
It's Broadmoor, yeah.
I think that's what band is, but it's just
I'm pretty sure he shouts either "fuck Papa John's" or "fuck Pizza Hut."
Yeah, something like that.
And then just launches the mic back and just throws down. Yes, man.
The band Left Behind ages ago because I remember like seeing it on Twitter. They went to play a show, and the show got cancelled, and they ended up playing a corner shop, like a convenience store, opposite the venue, and they were like in the corner at the back in front of the fridges, just like playing a show. I was just like, that's so mental. Like, if I was the owner of the convenience store, I'd be shit scared that people were going to start doing flips off the fucking like counters and stuff.
Yeah,
I know for a fact if I'd have been at a show like that, it would have just been a case of just trying to throw yourself off off anything and everything.
It's like they used to do shows in there's a record. I think there's a record store in London. They used to do shows in the record store. Like, like nowadays you get like people do acoustic sets in like record stores and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like a full on. I think it was Trash Talk did a set.
Yeah.
In a record store in America, this was, and like the guy who owned the record store cut the power after like 2 minutes because they literally trashed the place. Like all the fans were just like
after 2 minutes. That's about 3 albums worth of material by them, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. They got everything out.
That's the first time I've ever like had a really bad injury at a show was when I watched Trash Talk and I got my nose broken.
That they are from what I know, and I never saw them unfortunately, but I know friends who saw them and they said it was some of the most vicious shows they'd ever been to, a Trash Talk show, just because of how much people just don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I saw them with Winds of Plague.
Yes,
I need to see Winds of Plague live.
It's such a random show, but
yeah.
It's funny. We're bringing up like the old deathcore stuff there. Me and Dan were having a bit of a discussion before about like old deathcore, like bands that used to slap back in the day. We were talking about like any breakdowns that you could think of and remember from back in the day that used to absolutely slap your head off.
It was it Rose Funeral, one of them. One of the bands back in the day. Winds of Plague, it's 2 songs in particular. It's the intro to Reloaded. Just was it back on that 2008 shit and straight into the Tui. But also the end of Chest and Horns as well. Yeah, on the Great Stone War, if you just get to, like about 3/4 of the way through a song, there's a Tui in it that is so fucking good.
It's like Now Dead Risen by Impending Doom.
Oh
Yep.
my god, what an album!
That track as well is absolutely gross. And it's like it's that Carl Effect song. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one where he goes like, "Fine, fuck you then," and then it goes into that like absolute disgusting beatdown. It's just like,
You
It's
also
like-
had
I can't think of what song that is now, but I know
anything
exactly.
off
I got it on Spotify. I think it's like Slippery Savior. It might be that song.
anything
might
off
be.
of Somatic Defilement by Whitechapel.
This goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oceano's Depths album was a fucking blast.
The Doom,
Um,
the Doom EP by Job for a Cowboy,
Yeah. Was it?
and their first album actually, because that was disgusting.
Continent by Acacia Strain. Just
the Acacia Strain, as you say,
It's
honestly,
Doctor Doom, isn't it? 4 funerals, no fucking weddings.
Yeah,
is
that's
the
the one.
Funerals
and the
no
blood runs
fucking-
down the mountain. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it does. Well, the Strain, mate.
Continent is such a good album, man.
Yeah, it's
It's,
ridiculous.
it's disgustingly heavy.
It had
like-
everything though. It had
The,
everything.
the first Suicide Silence album as well, The Cleansing.
Cleansing was a fucking blast.
That first Chelsea Green EP.
Mate,
Yeah.
that was a blast, and I thought Desolation of Eden was fucking sick as well. I think they kind of started to lose it towards My Damnation, which was upsetting
Yeah.
because they had it good.
I'm trying to think of like other bands back in the day.
Oh, I was mad into like all those like grind death MySpace bands like See You Next Tuesday.
Yeah. There's a band that a lot of people, I say a lot of people, from what I can tell, don't know. They're an Australian band called Signal the Firing Squad.
Yes, Abnegate and fucking Earth Harvest.
That song, Adapting to Genocide, the beat down in the middle of that is so fucking good. It's all the pedal work in between all the breaks of it. It's just so fucking good.
Like obviously Despised Icon as well.
Yeah,
they-
Despised Icon is
absolute kings. Do you know, alongside Despised Icon, who I'd love for them to bring over is Ion Dissonance. I think if those two Canadian fucking kings came over it, that would be decimation, mate.
Yeah.
Was it Ion Distance who had that song? Was it We Like to Call This One Fuck You? Or
Fuck,
something?
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those songs. We like to call this one Fuck You.
Do you ever listen to a band called like Arson to Get All the Girls? They were like a weird.
I do remember them. I don't think I spent
like,
too much time on them, but I definitely remember them.
Like I used to love like all those like just math like grind just weird bands, man. Like
War from a Harlot's Mouth as well. That was another one.
Yeah, yeah.
War from a
French.
Harlot's Mouth are sick, man. They're so good.
Yeah,
They re-released that Transmetropolitan album on vinyl, and
Yeah,
I was gonna buy it.
I ordered it. It's not been shipped till like September, but
Is it still going now?
they did like they sold out, and then they did like another
A second pressing.
a second press, but they were different.
Oh.
I don't know if they still got any left, but what I liked about it was they did one set of vinyls for Europe and another set for America.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't, yeah.
So that like because normally when bands do like vinyl pre-orders and they just have like a general one, you either have to pay for US shipping, or they all
customs on
sell
top of
out
it as
within
well.
like they all sell out within like 5 minutes.
The worst thing about customs is I order quite a lot of vinyl as well. Like actually, literally, those cases down there are all for the vinyl records.
All filled with
Like,
vinyls. That's insane.
There's quite a few in there. I did the old Discogs. Have you used that?
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, just put in all this stuff and we'll tell you how much it's worth. I wish I hadn't done it. But
it's upsetting when you read the numbers.
Being a postman, I actually deliver to my own house. My own house is on my walk. So when you get those cards through that say, "Oh, you owe £20 customs," I have to deliver it to my own bloody house, and I can't get around.
Oh man, the upset.
Yeah, Joe owes this amount. But the other day I actually had one. I don't know who it was. I don't know what the item was for, but I did have one on it. It was £120 customs charge. I don't know what they ordered.
Nice.
Yeah, because you know, like how the customs charges actually work. Like what determines their value? It's the VAT owed because we put it on straight away. Other countries like America don't put it on until point of purchase.
Right at the end, yeah.
Yeah, and then they go,
it's
and it's usually like 17% of whatever you've bought. So they've bought something for like £1,000, gone to have it sent over, and it's like, oh yeah, there's £120 on top of it, plus an £8 handling fee. It's ridiculous. But another band that I've got here is Float Face Down.
Yes.
Yeah, which is another one of my favorite bands. That entire album was ridiculous.
I'm gonna put you two into contact with, if you're not already in contact with him. Is do you remember? Do you know Chainsaw Castration? Do you know that band?
Yeah. We know. I got their I have their split with
Visions.
Visions
of
of Disfigurement.
Disfigurement. Yeah, and I was talking to Dan at Fall in the Brawl, the vocalist of Visions, and he was like, I said to him like, I have it on CD somewhere, and he's like, if you find that and put it on Discogs, you could sell it for like loads of money.
You really could.
It's worth quite a lot, but I don't know. It's in my I have this massive box for the CDs. It's like buried in there somewhere.
Mate, I would dedicate a Sunday to try and finding that. You know,
I might do. Yeah, when I finish moving, I'll go probably have a look for it because there's like I have so many CDs of bands that are like not bands anymore.
Yeah,
because they give them out for free when you go to like shows at the venue me and Joe used to go to in our hometown.
Yeah.
So
you used to just gather all the CDs up and then that's it, and then you can, as you say, mate, get them on Discogs. They'll start going for a pretty penny now.
Yeah, I'll have to try and dig a load of them out, like because a lot of them aren't bands anymore, so it'd be quite funny.
Yeah, to see who was about back in the day as well. That's what I always enjoy doing. Like that's why I've been trying to, keep on top of those podcasts and stuff like that. Then and now Essex one with all the bands from back in the day. Obviously, there's only a select handful of sort of Essex bands now that I'm aware of.
The only ones we like, obviously, there's us, there's MTXS, and there's Split Knuckle.
Yeah.
I off the top of my head, there's a couple more because I'm in the Essex hardcore group.
Yeah.
So there is quite a few active bands in there, but off the top of my head, I can't.
I know Raiden are coming back to being active.
Yeah, Raiden. They played that UKHC Fest, didn't they? Last year.
Right. Yeah.
One of the worst things about bands in Essex, especially hardcore bands, is there isn't really much of a scene around here. If you want to play a show, you have to go to London, and even then, it's complete dog eat dog. How many other bands there are, especially with like any other shows with like LBU bands as well, because there's so many there.
Of course.
And then any other times we need to play shows, it's up north. So it's not like we can go to work, we can just, play the show later on in the evening. We have to make sure we all book off holiday and all that sort of thing to get to the one show, which, we're still fine doing, but it's not as easy to actually play the shows up there. But
the only time we've played Essex recently is when MTXS has released their album. They did a release show and we played it with Old Warfare and Creek.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then the last time we played Essex before that was when we did our EP release show. And then the time we played it before that was when MTXS did their EP release. So like the 3 times we played it is because we've put the shows on ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no venues really that cater for bands, like unless you want to play a pub and you're just gonna have like middle-aged baldmen in there being like, oh, where's the David Bowie? Where's Wonderwall? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
you're a metal band, like Led Zeppelin. Yeah.
You got us nailed, mate.
I will tell you this now. Anyone who's watching, if you play a pub like that and you get someone drunk, you can sell them a T-shirt. Just telling you now. I sold a small to an absolute gammon head at a show once. Didn't get him at all.
A gammon head.
Still bought it.
Yeah, that'll fit on me once I lose a couple of these pounds.
Yeah, I'll lose a little bit of weight. Like, mate, if you get your heart above in triple digits, you're going to die. So don't tell me you're going to fit into that. But it's a great way of selling T-shirts, especially if they give you a bit of lip as well. Just a bit of gift of the gab with them. Buy them say, oh yeah, I'll buy you a drink later on. By the way, do you want a shirt?
Yeah, do you know what, mate? Yeah, I'm roped into that, mate. Joe, you got sales 101 down to a T. Fucking hell.
From the conversation I had with the guy who does the Essex Then and Now podcast, he wants to, when shows are back up and running again, he does want to start. He said to me like he wants to get the Essex scene going again. Like he wants to start putting on shows regularly again. Like I think he said like Southend, Chelmsford, Colchester, like those sort of areas. I think, especially from what I see, like when I'm driving around and stuff, there's a lot of people who look like they would be into that kind of music. It's just like they probably don't have anywhere to go. Like me and Joe were fortunate when we were like 14, 15, we had a venue in our town that regularly had live music. Like it wasn't always metal. Like sometimes it was punk, sometimes it was rock. Like, so for me, like getting used to live venues from a young age, it was really useful. Whereas a lot of kids nowadays, like especially around where we live, they're only going to go to see a show if they go to London, and they're only going to see it. There might be a band that play their local pub or something, and they can go see. But apart from like a solid weekly venue that puts shows on like every Friday, every Saturday. Like there's not really anything around here that does that. So it's a bit. I think that's probably why, in a way, like certain scenes in certain parts of the country they're a lot quieter. Like when you say to me, like when you talk to me about UK hardcore, like I'm straight away like, apart from all the bands in London and the bands I know, like LBU bands and other bands like that. Apart from that, I automatically just think North, because like a lot of the hardcore bands we're friends with and that we play with, they're all from like gassed up from Preston. You got bands from Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield, Old Warford from Wolverhampton. So like all the bands we're friends with and the bands we know, and they're all from up north. So like that's I think that's a reason why we play up north, is because the scene up there is a lot more diverse. So like you can play like a show on a Thursday in like Leeds somewhere and you'll get a decent turnout, whereas if we were to play a show on a Thursday in London, you've got to check what other bands are playing at what venues. So like we play a show in Camden, there's like 5 other venues, and you're playing the Black Heart, and then at the Underworld you've got like a hardcore show, and then at the Unicorn, which isn't a venue anymore, the Electric
is it not?
I don't think the Unicorn is. The Electric Ballroom, you've got another show, and then down the road at the Dome, there's another show. So like, people won't be like, "Why would I pay like £5 to see bands I don't know when I can pay like £12 and watch this big band that I know?" Like, so I think that's
it's
the
funny
struggle.
you mention that, because we actually, back in my first band with Mitch, we played a venue. I can't remember whereabouts it was. It was somewhere like Winchester or something. It was something like that. And we was playing in this pub, and there was 4 people watching us, and it was like, we got paid before anyways. It was badly promoted as well. And whilst we was there, we found out that literally on the other side of the road at a church venue, Napalm Death were playing over the road from us. And I shit you not, halfway through the set, the mic got passed to me. I was like, I'm really glad that some people actually turned out, considering Napalm Death are playing over the road. 2 guys at the back went, "Wait, Napalm Death are playing," and left the venue. So we were just left with 2 people left. Like,
you haven't said anything.
I halved a venue from 4 to 2.
That's brilliant.
Like a Napalm Death.
There's a lot of venues struggling now, though, aren't there, at the moment, especially with like COVID and that. Like, it's a big thing where like loads of small, like independent venues are shutting down, which is going to make it even harder for upcoming bands. Especially, I know in the Manchester scene, there's a couple. I think actually they've said that they might have saved them recently, but there's been a lot in Manchester that have shut down that loads of bands have come through.
I did see something about today. Yeah,
a lot of we've played like the different venues we played in Manchester. Like the first venue we played in Manchester was I think it was Star and Garter.
Yeah.
Still there. That'll stand the test of time. If Star and Garter goes, then Manchester's gone, mate. It's been taken. It's been swallowed up.
We played Star and Garter. I played another one, which is literally like, it's more in the town centre, and it's like, to get to it, you have to go down the alleyway and through this back door, and you go up the stairs. We played a charity festival there, like it was for Mind.
Was it Crack Gallery? Or ATMA, AATMA.
ATMA,
yeah. Crack Gallery was the name of it before it became ATMA. And I remember going to see, I want to say, Dead Hearts from Sheffield there.
Yep.
And when it was like, so we're playing a show, it's a Crack Gallery. What?
Crack Gallery.
It basically is like, there's a pub underneath it, and we played a gig there once. I was walking around for half an hour with our gear. Like, where the fuck is the entrance to this place? There was no sign on the door or anything. And then these 2 punters from the pub downstairs was like, "Oh yeah, where you going? What are you playing and stuff?" And it's like, fuck me. So when you get those people who are trying to get more involved than they should. And then, we realised it was upstairs, like you said, through this back door, and it's like it's just headed away. But it's a small venue, but it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like small venues, man. I think like we played a show. Where did we play? Was it Oxford?
Yeah, Oxford. Yeah,
we played a show in Oxford with this metal funk band who are so good. They're called
the Last Tacitus.
Yeah, they're like Rage Against the Machine crossed with like
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Wild Cherry, like play that funky music.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, so they're funkadelic in your face,
they're-
good
they're-
And the
shit.
thing is,
they're
we were talking
so
to
good.
we were
man.
talking to all the members like before the show, and then the vocalist came in, and he was like, he had like a red cap on, almost like Fred Durst sort of thing. He had
Yes.
like a baggy hoodie and like a white vest on, with like these really like baggy jeans. I was like, oh, so like, how come you're there? He goes, I'm in the first band. The vocalist, the guitarist, to me looked like Gene Wilder when he was like 20. And then like I think the drummer was like, I'm pretty sure he was stoned. I'm not gonna lie, I think he was stoned at the time. But like, and we were like, who are these guys? Then they got on stage and it just snapped. The guitarist was everywhere, like throwing his guitar about and everything. Like they sounded great as well. Everything they did just like hit the notes as well. We just sat there like, we got to play after this. Like you're not allowed to be better than us. That's not
I
how
know,
it
yeah.
works.
But that venue was massive and it had a barrier.
Yeah.
No way.
And there was about like 25 people in there, and it was just so weird. Like when you play a small venue, like you've been to Alma Inn in Bolton.
Yeah. Fucking tiny venue.
25 people in there, sold out. Like it's
Yeah,
like
done.
it's like my living room is bigger than the pit at the Alma.
Yeah, the inner stage is tiny.
Yeah.
And the outer stage isn't much bigger.
Yeah.
So when you play that, like, and there's like 25 people there, you're like, mate, this is sick. So when I like small venues because like it's like everyone's closer in. It's more like intimate. And it's like we're not like, I don't think a lot of the bands that we play with are at a level where they're gonna be like playing with thousands of people anyway.
Yeah.
And I think like when you're in like a band that's like, you know, just starting out or you haven't done a lot for a while, so it feels like you're starting again. Like when you play a show and there's like 40 people there, you're like, yo, this is like amazing.
Yeah.
It's like the first time when we played Falling Abroad the first time we opened, we were like, oh, we're opening then all day, like it's not gonna be that busy. Like we got on stage, there was literally about like 180 people there.
Yeah.
And we're all just stood there like, Jesus Christ, like it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
It was 11 in the morning. It was 11.
Yeah. It was like 11 in the morning on like a Saturday, and it was like 180 people there, and we're just like, Christ, what do we do? And then we played like the first song in, like everyone was just going mad. Like there was people like beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone actually got taken out of the venue for being injured, and it was 11 in the morning. We're looking at each other like, are we on the right stage? Like, what the fuck is this?
Well, there is a lot of like, there's a lot of venues that I think do need to be saved because like a lot of people who I know in the scene are like, I grew up going to this venue, and like we obviously know what it's like to have your local venue shut down.
Very much so.
So it does like it does ruin it for you because you then have to like, you know, you have to travel like a lot further to play shows, which you don't always have the time to do, or you don't always have the money to do. So I think a lot of venues do need help, but at the same time, the government are seeming to want to give money to everyone but small venues.
Yeah, they're doing it to everyone but them. And it's like, if you saved those things, the rest of it will come round for yourself.
You've got to keep Wetherspoons alive.
When you look how much money is generated from live music in the UK, it's like stupid amounts of money, but they're more interested in saving banks and corporations and airlines. When someone could start a fucking airline next week and it would probably be massive at any time, but like you have a pub that's been running for like years and they can't run anymore because they can't open because of a pandemic that the government hasn't handled properly, in my opinion.
It's a shared opinion, mate. Fucking
and then like it's like the same where I grew up in London. There's a lot of gangs and a lot of, when you're in school, there's a lot of like people come in and they're like anti-gang task forces and they like talk to kids about, oh, you don't need to join gangs, you don't need to do this. And then they cut funding to youth centres, they cut funding to youth programs, and then they wonder why kids are on the street fucking about with knives when they've got nothing to do, because
you've taken the livelihood away from them. So
yeah, you've like, whereas I could go to when I was younger, I could go to like a youth centre and like play Nintendo and play pool and play like table foot, like, you know, like foosball, like table football, like with your friends, like, and you have a place to go and it's open after school. And then, but now like you don't have that, and like and same with like public libraries aren't really a thing anymore either. Like when I was a kid and I was in school and I had to do a project, I had to go to the fucking library and sign out a load of books and like And nowadays you just say like, "Hey Google, like, what's my phone."
Everyone's phone's just
Oh
gone.
yeah, literally, my
my phone vibrated in my pocket. It's like, chill out.
Hey
But no,
Siri.
you're right, mate. I think
I
it's,
might do that. I might do that at a show, like when I'm on the microphone, just be like, "Hey Google."
Yeah, everyone's phone just goes
like,
up. No, but you're right though, mate. It's like we're certainly at an age now of convenience where everything's just at our fingertips. But I think it's also made us lazier.
Yeah,
I think it's like
I did see a post about this, like a scientific review, and they're saying people of our generation have both seen technology introduced, taken away, and replaced within already our lifetimes already. Like
Yeah.
so, like when we was growing up, it was like for me personally, it was tape cassettes. That was the first thing of music. Then it was CD players, mini disc players, Walkmans, onto like MP3 players, and now my phone plays all my music.
Yeah, and you
In the
don't
space
need.
of my lifetime, like that happens. That sort of thing doesn't happen to a lot of generations. Like even our parents, they would have grown up listening to vinyl records and then maybe gotten to tape, and that was it.
Yeah,
But for us,
literally.
we've seen it in all different ways as well.
do you ever have a CD player and then you walk too quick and the CD skips because
Yeah,
it's like
and
bouncing
the
around.
laser would burn off it a little. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, and getting your MP3 on your bloody Walkman phone, your Sony Walkman.
Yeah, and you had to choose 6 songs you could have because it had like 32 megabytes, and that was it. That was
I used to have a little MP3 player, like a little USB thing that you could plug in.
Yeah, I had
90
that as well.
songs on it, and you go on YouTube to MP3 converter.
Yeah.
And you'd start changing all the files.
I had the first iPod that came out. I still have an iPod Classic. I don't use it.
Like that thick in it. It's
You could brick them together and
Funky
make a
boy.
house with a bloody thing.
Yeah.
They don't even make iPods anymore, I don't think.
No, that was that was a genius invention of making so much money out of it, and then just realizing that it wasn't going to last for
because obviously people
10
have
years.
Apple Music now, and you have like Spotify, you have like so many music streaming services.
Yeah.
Like
I say, it's just the convenience of it all now. You just have to pay £10 a month, and I've got access to anything with no adverts.
Yeah, there's a grime rapper from London, and he basically was saying like he has a song and he's basically saying like, you don't know how hard it is when I was younger trying to get my music out there because I had to like stand on the street corner and flog CDs because like I didn't have YouTube, I didn't have SoundCloud, I didn't have
promotional values.
Yeah,
of course.
I didn't have the internet to basically be like all those like you get the rappers in America like like SoundCloud rappers who like they put a couple of records out on SoundCloud and they get picked up by a label.
Yeah,
like it is amazing now that can happen. Like I think is it the guitarist or the drummer in the Black Dahlia Murder? He was doing covers on YouTube and they messaged him like, hey, you want to be in the band? Like literally like and it's just stupid how those things like
just how quickly things can come together and work.
It's mad.
Whereas back in the day, obviously there was so much graft just to as you say, get yourself out there, promotional wise, obviously going to the shows because especially with like stuff like hardcore as well. I mean, back a day, people would obviously promote their stuff and try and get it out, but obviously not a lot of bands really had like CDs or tapes to be able to just dish out to people. It was just a case of just come to a show and listen to us, and then we'll have something eventually.
A lot of the bands I used to like, a lot of the bands I grew up seeing, they'd give you a CD, but they've obviously just bought a stack of CDs.
That's right, just burned it
and burnt a copy on it and written in pen like their band name and then the album name and then drawn like a pentagram on it, and they've gone, here's our album, and I'm like, oh, sick.
Didn't we do that in our last band?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, but because I remember I signed all the bloody CDs like Accursed Kingdom. Was it? Indoctrinated Race or something. By the end of like doing like 100 CDs, I'm just like, can't do this anymore.
It's getting to the point now where like we're doing like when we release this new EP, we're considering not doing physical copies because I know a lot of people who still like CDs and they still like cassettes because they're like collector's items.
I'm one of them. Yeah.
I haven't. I can't, apart from bands I've played with, I haven't bought a CD in a long time. Like I've bought records online, and I've bought, when you buy vinyls, you get like get the download code.
Yeah. I've got so many of them. I've saved up in a little box of them.
And then like apart from that, like a lot of music I will stream on Spotify, or if it's a band that they're not big, but they're a band I really like. I'll buy the record off Bandcamp. Like it's only like a couple of quid, and it's like it goes directly to the band because I know like the money you generate from streaming from Spotify is god awful. Like it's like not even like 1p per stream. It's like
even huge artists aren't getting any money for it. There's like all different things as well, like bands who tour loads as well. People assume they're making loads, but when is it Gojira did is it L'Enfant Sauvage or whatever it was, like the album before Magma,
It sounds that
went on
sounds
tour.
right, yeah.
They went on tour and then all over Europe sold out quite a few shows. But then because of things like hotel changes, flight costs, breakages to gear and stuff like that, or just wear and tear, like issues with like bus companies, they came back and said they were $9,000 worse off than when they went on tour.
It's insane, isn't it?
And they were like, and they said this is a normal thing though. That this is a normal thing for some bands. You get some bands who make loads of fucking money, like, and you all notice as well, like it's like with endorsements as well, like especially with one that I've noticed is Amur. So Josh Travis, the guitarist, used to be in Glass Cloud.
Glass Cloud it was, that's right.
And then
Tony Dan, Tap Dance Extravaganza. I could never get that out.
Tony Danza, Tap Dance Extravaganza. So I used to be a fan of Tony Danza, and then seeing him on stage in like a beaten up like 8-string guitar, and then like he's got like a Mesa Boogie behind him with like a beat up cab. It goes into Glass Cloud, pretty much stays the same. Goes into Amur, he's now got like a $10,000 rig. He's now got signature guitars by Legator out, and like so not ESP now, and he's got like 6 guitars that he takes on stage with him. And it shows how much like the endorsements just help out with that. So it's like it's crazy just how much difference it makes. Because like I follow him on like Instagram stuff like that. He's like, oh yeah, here's my latest rig, and I'm looking at it like that's worth 4 times my car. Like how got that? And I remember when you was using like a beat up guitar. What the hell?
Oh, that's funny you say that, mate, because literally I remember seeing Glass Cloud back in like 2016, I think it was, in Manchester. And yeah, it was like a fucking 8-string beast that he was like throwing around. And then, as you say, as soon as he got onto Amur, and I saw Amur for the first time at Download, and I was stood at the side of the stage. Honestly, he walked on with this fucking like warriors fucking log. Elevator cables attached to it, and was just like, I'm just going to use the top string and you're going to like it. And everyone did, mate. Everyone bounced, but it was really annoying because they only played newer like Amur stuff, and I really wanted some old shit just to fly out, but I don't think they'll really play that stuff anymore. It's upsetting.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Goodbye to the Gallows and that album.
Yeah, and the heavies.
That's one thing that I'm surprised Josh Travis went to Amur, considering what he's capable of.
Very much so. Do you know what I mean? Like when you've got Tony Danza sat like on your CV.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. If someone said, "Hey, do you want to play in Amur?" It's like, money, lots of really good shows, and I only have to chug the open. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I can do that.
But yeah, it is incredible to see like how much that some people can change like in bands as well. And it's also weird when you see a lot of members change, then the band changes as well. Like Job for a Cowboy, like we were saying earlier. Like I'm pretty sure the vocalist is their only original member. But when you listen to like their old EP, like the deathcore stuff, and then listen to their latest stuff, which is like tech death, it is a complete change, and it shows that getting different members in the band just changes how they sound as a whole as well.
Very much.
Same with us. Same with us.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you listen to Life is Pain and then go straight on to Malice, straight away, there is such a change from those 3 years. And you can definitely tell it's in such a heavier, stronger, more confident direction from yourselves, I think, personally. Like, you're well more comfortable with your sound and sort of go, this is where we're going, and you're going to fucking like it whether you like, well, whether you want to hear it or not, this is exactly how it's going to go down. And you do. You sound so much more comfortable playing.
Like one of the things that I have noticed is our songs just flow better. I feel like even if the actual song itself isn't like as groundbreaking as one of the other ones or anything like that, it's still the fact that it flows better just makes the song in general sound better. Because a lot of the stuff of Life is Pain, it's something that Mitch pointed out, is he did say that a lot of it did sound like cut and paste almost, like riffs just go straight into another one. And it was only when he pointed it out, I sort of like, yeah, I guess that's right. Who's culprit for that? I heard the phone vibrate. Who's the culprit?
It's not me this time.
Oh, it's me. Sorry, it's my phone giving me updates on the football, so don't worry about it.
Who's playing? Who's playing?
Arsenal, Aston Villa.
Oh, who's winning?
Aston Villa, because they just scored.
Ah, well, there we go. The
So,
mighty Hammers.
Going into the like the latest stuff, it just flows so much better. Even all the songs that we have on the back burner right now, like Last Nail, which is coming out soon, and all the other songs we have, they just flow so much better, and it makes it sound like such a better experience, and to play as well.
Just makes everything, as you say, the smoothness of it all.
We have like the sound we have changed. Like we wanted to incorporate because like we have different members now, like different influences. We wanted to incorporate that. So we more like especially Malice and Last Nail. They have a lot more. It's more of a hardcore influence. It's more like the stuff we've been listening to a lot recently. There's a lot of stuff we have still kept, like the breakdown part in Malice. I still think is like heavy wise. It's similar to what we have on the Life is Pain EP, and a lot of the other songs we have on there's like 3 other tracks. So like there's Malice, there's Last Nail, there's 2 others. One's like an intro track, the other one's like a full song. They've all got the 4 songs we have. They have the sound is very similar, and the album we're going to do afterwards, it's more. It has a sort of similar vibe to Life is Pain, but it's incorporating more ideas that we want to put into it.
Step in a different direction and adding other things into it.
Yeah, because like with the album, we kind of just said like we just want to do basically what we want. Like we don't really think like, oh, we should put this out, because as much as like people have a certain thing they might expect from us, like sound wise, we want to keep the fans we have happy, but we also just want to basically put in stuff that we want to experiment with, try new stuff. Like I know like the end, we haven't done cleans before, so like the end of Malice has that gruff kind of like clean vocal style. But that's just because we thought at the time like the riff is very much kind of like a throwback to like the kind of like southern rock, southern hardcore, like old Every Time I Die, Malian and the Sons of Disaster kind of stuff we used to listen to. Like it's kind of like an aspect of that, and we just wanted to try new things. And it seems to have gone down well. Like we've not had haven't had any negative comments about it. Like sometimes when deathcore bands incorporate cleans, a lot of people were like, "Oh man," like, But that is like the Malice. The slight bit of singing on the end of Malice is like the only bit we have. So
yeah.
As you say, it was like a tip in your hat in the direction of bands that you used to listen to there back in the day, though. So
it's just like a little like it's just like a little nod to like the roots we have, like growing up music wise. Like there's another song we have on the EP, which the ending of it is very much what you'd expect old Iowa era Slipknot to sound like.
Yeah.
So like it's very much like stuff we're influenced by. We don't want to write music that is we're going to write this sound because it's going to be popular. We want to write music that we like. So we're influenced by not just bands that are out now. We're influenced by stuff we grew up listening to. I know a lot of bands like you have your roots, and it is good to change, and it is good to move away from what you're comfortable with. But at the same time, I do think there's certain things you need to remember, and
you've got to keep your foundations. I think.
Yeah.
Once you've laid them, don't forget your roots, because it's very easy to get lost in your own creations and go in a completely different direction. Then you fucking sat on top of the material going, this is nothing like what we've written before, and this is not the direction I wanted to go in. You see a lot of bands do that, and then they have to restart everything from scratch.
Yeah, a lot of bands rebrand and change their sound anyway. Like that's kind of what they do.
Yeah, it comes with the territory, doesn't it?
You've got to remember you've got to play this live as well. Like you've got to play this live for like the next like few years or so. So obviously you keep that in mind as well. If you don't it in the first place, then you're not going to like playing it, are you?
Yeah, like we like writing music that when we play it live, we feel like, you know, like if I was watching this band, I would be moving to this. Like, do you know what I mean? Like if that's like the music I play, if I would listen to it myself, then I know I'm going to like it.
Mm.
It's like
that's a good sentiment to sort of relay back to putting your own music out there. Really, if you actually do enjoy hearing what it is that you're hearing, then you know other people are going to enjoy it as well. Because it comes to the same.
And if they don't, fuck them.
Yeah, you know what the fucking door is, boys.
There's always going to be people who like. There's always like negative people who don't like what bands do. Like, there's bands that people are like, oh, I think you'd really like this band. You should listen to them. And then I listen to them, and I'm like, I don't like it. But I'm not gonna sit there bashing them online, being like,
no.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna be like, this band's awful. Like, I don't get why people love them so much. But like, if you're not a fan of a band, like, don't listen to it.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's just basic etiquette. If you don't like something, just leave it out.
But some people think they have to be rude about bands because it gets
them that little bit more popularity in the scene and makes them that little bit cooler because they swang a bit of a dick. All right,
makes them edgy and makes them stand out a bit. But I do think there is a lot of the opposite, where people will say they like a band even though they don't, just because everyone else does.
Yeah.
Riding on the coattails of it.
Yeah, and I think like if like I'm never gonna like, because I've spoken to like friends of mine who are in bands, and I've said to them like, I love you guys, and I'll always like big up your music, but it's not the kind of music I'm into.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, they're my friends. I'm still gonna support them doing what they do. Like, you don't have to like. I'm sure there's people I'm friends with who are like, I fucking hate your band. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, fair enough.
As human beings, you sound with each other. Yeah.
One of the weirdest ones that I find, and it really does confuse me, this one, is when a member of a band dies, like of a big band, and someone doesn't like the music. So they'll say, I never liked the band, but rest in peace, blah, blah, blah. Like Chester Bennington or the bassist of Deftones, what was his name? Chi?
Yeah.
Like goes, oh yeah, I was never a fan of Deftones, but rest in peace. Like, really, you have to mention the fact that you don't like them, even though you're saying rest in peace.
Fucking idiots.
What? Why? How does that compute in your head? Like, it's like, I was never a fan of Suicide Silence, but rest in peace, Mitch. It's like, wait, so why? What? Why is that a thing?
But the thing is, with like Chester as well, like the same people that were probably bashing, said that about Chester, were probably bashing Chester for changing like the sound of Linkin Park.
Yeah,
which is what helped.
Yeah, so many people were like, oh, what is it? Is it One More Light? That was the album. They were like, I can't believe they've changed. It's like, okay, try playing Hybrid Theory for 20 years and not finding it boring.
Bands change, man, but like you do what you do. Like when you're on a label, like especially when you're a big band, they like sometimes you get pointed in a certain direction.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it like, as long as like big bands still like them. Like I haven't listened really to Whitechapel after they did the album with the saw blade on it.
So I want to say that was Mark of the Blade.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
Our Endless. No, the one with the actual saw in it was just called Whitechapel. It was. Like
that the one after.
Right, so it's just self-titled.
Is that the one after? Not Smack Defilement. This is Exile. The one after that.
A New Era of Corruption.
That's the last album I listened to.
Yeah.
That had the Vincent Bennett.
Yeah.
Vocal part in it on
Murder Sermon, and also
Murder Sermon,
a lot of people don't know. Was it Reprogrammed to Hate? Had Chino from
Deftones on it.
Deftones, yeah.
No way, that I didn't know.
Yeah, Reprogrammed to Hate. If you listen like halfway through it, there's like a random like high bit, and it's Chino from.
That's Chino.
But so yeah, it's the same with me. Like, so the actual album Whitechapel, I didn't like the album at all. But then you had what was the next one? Our Endless War. There's a couple of songs on there that I did like, and then afterwards, I haven't listened to anything they've done since then. But they have changed their sound. But it's the old stuff I like the sound of.
It's the same with like No Thy Art Is Murder. Like they did the EP when then they changed vocalists, and then after the album that everyone loves.
Hate or The Adversary?
Hate. Well, The Adversary is sick, but Hate is good as well. After that album, I didn't really listen to them. But then me and Joe saw them recently because they played with I Am, Carnifex, and...
That's right.
Was it Fit for an Autopsy? Yeah. And like they played a lot of songs I don't know, and they were really good.
Yeah. For me, the one thing I find with Art is Murder. Now, this is going to be funny coming from a guy who listens to deathcore, but I find that to me, every album they've released, this is just my opinion, but every album they've released since Hate has sounded like Hate.
It sounded like Hate 2.0, 3.0, 4. Yeah.
3.0, 4.0. And it's like, okay, I've got those things there. I'm just going to get the original. I like the original. It's good.
It was done perfectly, yeah.
It was done so well, yeah. And
but some bands have that one album that they probably will never top in the fans' opinions anyway. So it is quite hard because then you do kind of think like maybe I need to carry on making albums that sound like this album because that album did so well. And that's why a lot of bands do drastically change their sound because they're like, I've made 3 albums that sound like this. I want to just
need to
something
change it up
different
for myself. Yeah.
And then that's when you either lose your old fans and make new ones, or you keep some of your old fans and make new ones. So it's not like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think people commenting online being like, "Oh, this band's sold out." Like, I don't think the band care.
Yeah.
Like they're counting their money. Like, "Oh, I'm sold out." Oh no,
crying into their millions,
crying into their signature LTD guitar and being like, "Oh no, I've sold out."
Can you stop making me cry? I'm getting
that's like Code Orange though.
Yeah.
Like I don't like the direction they've gone in. It's not really for me. But fair enough, they're massive now and they're doing what they're doing. But I don't. After they did
Forever,
I Am King, and Forever.
I was about to say, for me it was Forever was the one that I liked, and then after that I haven't really been a fan. And the only other thing that I can't unhear is when someone changed they put the Crash Bandicoot thing into the Forever song. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That one and Patrick from SpongeBob doing My World. Code Orange. I think I Am King is fucking hell. What a phenomenal release! And I enjoyed them when they were Code Orange Kids, where they had a lot of Into Dust. Like that album.
Yeah, the one where they had like 2 songs on a track, basically.
That's right. Yeah,
that was such a. I've got that album somewhere, like on CD.
That was incredible.
It's a really good album.
Release. And that was a transition where they went from Code Orange Kids and being also like, we're playing all sort of Code Orange stuff, but we need to take away the kids sort of element to it. And
because
that,
they're
a lot older.
They're not kids anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And then when they brought out I'm King,
I have a separate box full of CDs and merch of bands I can't listen to anymore for certain reasons. Because of stuff that's come out from them in the past. So I can't, like, I have merch of theirs, I have CDs of theirs, I have vinyls of theirs, and I'm just like, what do I do with this now?
It's really frustrating, especially like when you've been like listening to the bands for so long and then you get outed for some fucking stupid shit, and you're like, oh,
that was one of my profits for me.
Yeah. One of my favorite hardcore bands of all time is Expire, and I can't.
Oh mate,
I can't listen to them anymore after what happened with their guitarist. Like, it's just
that was upsetting.
Same with like Capsize. Recently, Bent Life.
That one hurt.
What was the Bent Life one?
Some stuff come out about, I think it's the vocalist and the rest of the band basically all lied about it. So they've broken up, but I think like they realised they're probably never going to recover from it. So
what band's this?
Bent Life.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Bent Life.
Yeah. But like
I didn't know about that one. That's upsetting.
Like their album is like one of my favourite albums, but
from what I could tell about the Bent Life one, I don't think it was actually anything like what everyone else has been going through. I think they had been dicks to someone. Like,
I generally think the vocalist was a nonce.
Oh, actually, was that the case?
That's what I read on Twitter, but like,
right, okay.
Allegedly, because I don't want to get sued by anyone. So it's all allegedly. Because
I mean, they can try and sue me. I mean, do you want the Dark Souls board game? That's all I've got.
They can sue.
Yes,
literally all I have.
If they sue me, I'll just give them back their vinyl and their merch.
Yeah, you can just have the stuff back that you missold me in the first place.
Yeah,
you guys aren't banned anymore. This thing's worth something now.
Especially like there was earlier this month or last month? It was like every day there was something coming out.
Oh, they're new band.
A lot of stuff like coming out about bands and stuff like that. And when it's people you know as well, and it's people you've actually met, and it's people you're like, oh, I know that guy, like he seems alright, and then it comes out like this stuff about him, and you're just like, Christ, like, am I a terrible judge of character, or is this person
you start
just
questioning
like
your own shit, don't you?
do
It's
you
like,
know what I
I've had
mean?
conversations with these people, and like,
I know.
how the fuck do I not know? And then you
It's
start
bad
questioning yourself.
It's bad as well because like me and Joe are straight edge, and like there's stuff recently about do you remember that stuff about servitude? A while back,
was
like
heavy.
that got like, and a lot, like for me, like being straight edge is about being like, is for me, like, as you should be in life anyway. Like, don't discriminate against people. Like, it's like, I don't get how people can dislike someone because of their sexuality or their race or what gender they identify. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if, like, my philosophy is, if someone's not an absolute knobhead, like, I have no problem with them. Like, if someone's a knob, like, they're a knob. Like, that's who they are. Like, I won't tolerate those kinds of people. But like, I have nothing against anyone else, and I think the hardcore scene, and especially like the straight edge scene, like, it's quite small in the UK from like what I know. Like, straight edge in America is a massive, like, there's I can name so many
following.
So many straight edge bands in America. Like, in the UK, I know a lot. Since I become straight edge, I've discovered more and more every day because like people I know who are like in that community tell me. But like, especially that and the stuff with another band from London, another straight edge band, like, it just gives it a bad name. And in my opinion, like, it's not something that I would associate with hardcore, because it's all about community and about being inclusive. From being like being involved in the hardcore scene like the last few years, like, there was a lot of gatekeeping going on when I first joined. It was a lot of like big name people who were like kind of bullying other people, but like, it's like, now it's so much better now. Like, from what I see, you still get the odd person who likes to pipe up and comment on stuff, or like, I think the platform like should be used for what it should be used for. Like, it's a lot better now because it's like, people are like, oh, here's my new band, like, here's our song, like, and you post it in like these groups, and then if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they'll listen to it and be like, yeah, whatever's not for me, then they just move on. But like, when I first joined, like, all the UK's, like, the UK hardcore like stuff on Facebook, it was all about like trainers and
who had
clothes,
the best sort of stuff going on.
Like getting like
getting
a thread going on, which like Air Maxes they had and stuff like that.
And now it's threads. Now it's threads on what bands are being called out.
Yeah, which is like, which I think like, if you do like, I think everyone should call people out for their shit. Like,
which is good. I want to see more empowerment of people who have been through things like that, because it's absolutely ridiculous. And
it gives the scene a bad name, man. And like, we're supposed to be like, people just associate now. Like, if you say like, oh yeah, I'm like well into like hardcore, everyone's like, oh, isn't that not like, isn't everyone in that group a fucking abuser?
Everyone gets
the power of
that's
association.
it.
Like, if for any reason like a member of Royal Mail or a postman was suddenly outed as, I don't know, like a serial killer or something like that, all of a sudden, you know, my job's affected. No one's going to answer a door to me anymore.
All postmen are serial killers. That's how it goes, isn't it? Yeah.
And then, like, any time there's like an attack in London or a stabbing, my first thought is, please let it be a white person. Because if it's going to be anything else, all your Facebook feeds just to be full of racist, like, gammons or anything like that, posting anything they can about, like, oh, it was this person, it was a foreigner, all this, that, and the other.
Yeah, they're quick to point the finger, aren't they, without all the facts?
Completely so. And it's disgusting. It's like, what a person's born with doesn't change who they are as a person, like their value or anything. It shouldn't change them as a person or what they're worth. Like, I'm not worth any more than, I don't believe I'm worth any more than another person based on what they were born with or what they have.
Yeah.
Like, you learn and you grow things as you grow up. And I know a lot of people who have a lot in common with me who are worse than people who don't have a lot in common with me. And it's just, it's ridiculous how the association just happens like that. It's mad. And it's like, you know, the second you hear like things that happened back in the past, like Jimmy Savile, Rolf Harris, all of a sudden everyone was like, oh, all the old presenters are this, that, and the other. And then, it's just association, and it's awful, but it's how the mind works. I think it's like a survival thing, maybe, of like associating them together as a bad thing, but
a defense mechanism, like a subliminal one. Like
Yeah,
if he's like that and you're similar to him, that means that you're it too.
Exactly. Yeah. It's horrible.
It kind of makes sense as to why it's done though.
Yeah,
But still, it's fucked. And it's
doesn't mean it's right. It makes sense. Right.
Yeah, of course. It's.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Trying to fucking bend your mind around how people can be racist is. That's a different fucking topic in itself entirely. Like, how can someone's skin color make you seethe that much? Like, why? How? How?
In the UK, it's because tabloids make people scared of people.
The Sun.
Yeah,
mention,
Eclipse the Sun, fucking like for example.
By the way, other shit tabloids are available.
Yeah,
just know the Sun is the worst.
Yeah,
One of
basically like when they had all that stuff about like they're inventing like Sharia law zones, and it was just bollocks. Like,
yeah,
I've never once met a Muslim person who has basically been like, you're not Muslims, I don't like you. Like, and never in my life have I had. I know, like, when you grow up and you're like, the area of London I grew up in is very diverse, like ethnically diverse.
Yeah.
So from a young age, I was like, you know, I've been around other races, other cultures, other religions. So for me, it's always something I've grown up with. And then like when I moved out of London and you go to school and like there's like you go from having a very diverse classroom to having like one black or Asian kid in your entire like year, and how people in where you move to, how they perceive those people, it's quite interesting because like I think when you grow up in a predominantly white area, when you don't have a lot of minorities, that's when you get, you know, racism taught you from.
That's when it's instilled, isn't it? Like,
yeah, that's when you get, because like from when I was in school, like when I moved out of London and I moved to Essex, I went to school, like you get people making racist jokes, you get people making comments like, you know, making stereotypical comments about people of color, and it's like they don't know it's wrong because their parents, because all their friends laugh about it, all their family make jokes about it, like
nobody questions it. It's just
they refer to like
wildly accepted.
Like they refer to the Chinese as the you know, like, oh, just popping down the chinky, like that's not allowed, or they call the corner shop the you know, the Pakistan shop, but not that word. They call it that, and you're just like
version of that.
You're just like, that's like people don't. They're like, oh, that's not racist. That's just what it's called. I'm like, no, that's not.
No,
what
it's not. Not in any way, shape, or form, and never has been.
That is not what it's called. Like, moving out of London, I hate the fact there's no corner shops everywhere. Like, where else are you out at 2 a.m? You can walk in and pick up a chocolate bar and a bottle of water.
Just the convenience of it.
I know nowhere's open. Like when you like move out to like the less, like when you move to like more rural areas, it's like you don't have that. Like you have like a local shop, like a local village shop or whatever. It closes.
He's done by like 9, 10 o'clock.
It opens at like 8 a.m. Shuts at like 2.
Yeah, and then he's done for the day, and he's gone home.
Yeah, and he's fucked off down the boozer, isn't he? Like, that's what it is.
The funny thing about that is, like, I remember watching a documentary, like, and it was based in Britain about, you know, like white supremacy, people who support that, and people who are behind, is it Britain First?
Yeah, like EDO and Britain First. Yeah.
So this guy who was Muslim was going around interviewing these different people, and this particular guy was on this council estate. Do you remember?
I know this one. I know the one you're talking about. Yeah,
it's from this council estate, and he goes around putting up all these different posters, like these racist posters and stuff, like, and then protesting like all sorts of shit. But he fully supports like the EDM and Britain First, and he's basically heard all this information. Shit. You got what?
I said proper horrible shit, is it? Yeah. That he just
I thought he said that.
I'm not going for
what?
shit. No.
And on that note,
he's turning my light on.
But yeah, no, he's saying proper like horrible shit, but he's getting all this stuff like from like being force fed from like Tommy Robinson or all these other quotes that they've come out with. And
the lights on, boys. Sorry.
And it basically like this guy asked him, "So what do you do then?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm currently unemployed." And I'm like, "Hang on a second, right? So you're complaining about all these apparent like people who are taking over the country. they earn a wage, they pay taxes while you're sat in your fucking ass doing nothing, complaining about them. Like,
Yeah.
what?
The thing I don't get about these people, right? The ones that complain about, like the people who are like, I want to leave the European Union because I don't want these people from Europe coming over here and living on our benefits. Like, bearing in mind, like, you found when we announced that we were leaving the EU, like, they had no one to pick fruit and veg out of fields because no one wants to get up early and do that job for like fuck all money because like they don't want to do it because they're lazy. You don't have like you lose all your nurses and your doctors and all those jobs that people don't want to do. And now they specifically flew people in from Europe to pick fruit and vegetables because they didn't have them people. And the people that those people have a problem with aren't the ones from Europe anyway. It's like they dislike, like people from the Middle East, people from India, people from other Asian countries, people from African countries. They're the ones they have a problem with. Yeah. And then they vote leave just because they're racist and they think it's going to solve all their problems. It doesn't. And I just don't understand how, like, it just baffles me, man. Like, I don't get, like, racism. How you can look at someone and be like, I'm more superior to them because my skin's white. Like, it just does not. I just don't understand.
It doesn't compute, does it? I mean, to the people who get it, like ourselves, of course, it just doesn't make sense as to how you could do it in the first place. But it's definitely something that's taught. It's not something you're fucking born to do. You don't fucking get popped out and then go, yeah, do you know what?
I don't think
guys. It's not something that happens.
I don't think there's enough things. I was having a conversation with my girlfriend the other day. I don't think in schools there's enough things in place that teach you about life when you leave school. Like, there's nothing really in school where you learn about the advantage of mortgages and
literally
credit cards and paying things monthly, like full-time work, like stuff like that. Like, there's nothing really that teaches you. And I don't think there's anything in school that basically says, we were a British Empire, we stole people from all these countries and now complain that we have them in our country, even though we went to their country and stole them. So that's why we have them in our country in the first place. So, it's your own problem. We're basically taught, like, we went to Germany and killed Hitler, we're amazing. It's like, no, you just brush over the bits that you don't want people to know. It's like the same in America. They talk about, we freed the slaves, we gave women the vote. And I'm like, yeah, well, what about all the lynchings? What about
Native Americans?
What about the murder of Native Americans? What about police violence against people of color? What about police violence in general?
Yeah,
because they all have these like domestic abuse charges against them, yet they're still police officers. That's a whole different kettle of fish. Like, it's not our country. Like,
it's also like, if you want to do a little history lesson, look what we did to the Chinese Empire back in the day. Look
mate.
We like tea so much. Look where it came from. Look what we did.
Yeah, when people say, there's nothing more British than a cup of tea, and I'm like, wait, hang on a minute.
Do you know really where that came from? How much of a patriot do you think you really are?
You eat Chinese, you eat Chinese, you eat curry, you eat kebabs. Like, none of that is English food. Like, if you're going to eat an eel pie with gravy, that's English food. Like,
or a babby's head.
Or a Fabergé egg. Like,
you come home in your French car, to your house. You sit down on your IKEA furniture, watching
Japanese TV and
on a Japanese TV. British, yes.
So true.
That's got Britain stamped all over it.
But we say we don't have a race problem in this country, and then we elect Boris Johnson as Prime Minister.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is one of the most racist people I think I've ever heard of in my life. Like, him and Trump, I'm convinced are the same person.
Yeah, that's separated by minutes of birth.
Have you ever seen them in the same room? I mean,
that's a shout. I don't think. Is there any documented photos?
I think they've got the same people making the wigs, though. Like, they've both got the same wig maker, definitely.
They just got a fat white bloke and put a wig on him, and then was like, "Yeah, that's one of the two."
And we'll give the British one a bumbling accent, and we'll give the American one. Well, fuck, mate, he's got a dodgy accent, hasn't he? Like,
yeah, he talks so weirdly. He can't speak properly. Have you seen? They took all his interviews and his speeches, and they put like subtitles, and then when he got words wrong, they like put the way that he pronounced it in there. And then like he tries to say a word like 4 times, and then he just changes the word.
Yeah.
He's like, it's inevitable. It didn't happen. Like, it's just like, oh, come on, like the guy don't even speak English, man. Like, how's he gonna like say he doesn't like Mexican people when he don't even speak English?
I used to like Home Alone 2 until I found out he was in it.
Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah, in the lobby, isn't he?
So upset.
And he refused to help a homeless lost child. So what does that say about him?
It's because he wasn't female.
Yeah, exactly what it was. Couldn't be grabbed by the pussy.
He's like, my mate Epstein's upstairs.
Yeah, that's where I'm headed, boys. I've got places to be. In fact, there was a child who just ran right out of the lobby. He could have ran into my arms. That would have been a different fucking ending to Home Alone, wouldn't it?
Okay, man.
Oh god, even just the title sounds off. Then Home Alone.
Oh no.
Home and Alone.
Right, guys. Before we start getting into like all that shit, I think we should call it there.
We went a bit off topic. We're supposed to talk about music. We've covered
for those who don't know,
everything.
We're in a band. We're in a band.
We are actually in a band. We have a new single out. It's called Malice. It's on Spotify. So, and we have new music coming soon. So
very soon.
Yeah. Thanks.
So as soon as that comes out, we'll make sure that gets shared about the shop and fucking make sure people are headbanging. I'll get a few cartwheels out to it. You know how it goes, Dan. You know how it goes, Joe.
Yeah, it's like there's the trainers. There they are.
Yeah, that's it. If you ever lose me, you just see feet in the air. It's like, oh, fucking hell, he's off again. Just ignore him. He does.
The two greatest things in music, in hardcore music, is watching someone cartwheel, and then just as you're building up, like the beat down, you hear the crowd going, "Oh!"
Yeah, oh, and or the clap that follows with it. You know, when you hear someone just go, and you go, right, he's about to move.
Boy, we're going in. Yeah,
clap.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for coming on anyway.
Thanks for having us, man. It's been good to have a good old chat about things.
Absolute pleasure to catch up with you both once again, and hopefully once lockdown fucks off and we've got more time to spend with each other. Since you guys are back up north, I'll be up all up in your faces.
We're provisionally booking stuff for like early next year, so we've got a couple of weekends, a couple of tours pretty much being booked. So we'll definitely be back up your way soon.
Fantastic stuff. Well, like I say, I'll make sure I keep everything eyes peeled for all that.
Yeah,
and we'll go from there.
So that there concludes episode 2 of the Hardcore Project there with Depravity. It was good catching up with the lads. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Yeah, make sure you catch us on socials as well. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also check out YouTube for your extra content and your videos as well.
Anything we're on, we'll make sure we throw at you.
Yeah.